And we are live. Again, a little bit weird without an intro to start off right away. I hope you guys can hear me because I didn't even get to test my audio, but I downloaded a new system to my computer and now I can't share my screen and have it play audio. So I have to do intros like this until I figure out how to do it because I'm not the most tech savvy person. Obviously excited to talk to you guys tonight solo, which is my last solo stream. Because I believe starting next time I'm supposed to be solo on a Wednesday. Sabo and Nania join me, and then every week from starting at the beginning of the season, we're going to have Nania or Sabo on, and then Kyle, then one of those guys. So exciting times. Training camp, bunch of reports out from there. A lot of positivity around the Jets right now, which is kind of crazy for us. We're not really used to that, so we're going to discuss all things training camp. Position battles, some position battles that flamed out really, really quickly because people got named starters at certain positions that we did not think. So tons of things to get to. Let's see who's in here. TJ Decker, what's up? John Hassel's in here also. Visiting training camp as a child, teen, and adult is exactly why I'm still a Jets fan. Last time I was there for Tebow's birthday in Cortland. So was that 2011, right? Or 2010? No. Yeah, 2011. 2012. No, 2012 was the year that Tebow came. Okay. Completely forgot. I tried to erase that year out of my memory, to be completely honest, John, because that was the first or second year I had season tickets was that year. I believe it was the first year I had season tickets. And then I got them for like 6 years or 7 years after that in a row. Been a little bit spacey since then. But yeah, training camp's always fun. I don't necessarily love training camp because you don't really take a lot out from it or out of it. And to me, to drive there, to drive back in traffic down, the Parkway, back toward the beach in the summer, not necessarily the best idea, so I don't go anymore, but it is what it is. So Lloyd Gross in here, what's up? Hawk in here, what's going on? Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to the Becton thing obviously in a little bit. Max, what's up? Bias. It's exciting times, and the great thing about this right now too is like we haven't missed the show, I don't believe, since I don't even know when, other than when I was on vacation where I was on my not honeymoon, but I was in Aruba for, I think, 10 days and I missed a show or two. But other than that, we've been talking through the really, really dry times. So now that we can actually talk about practices and then we could talk about a preseason game in 2.5, 3 weeks, whatever the hell it is really, really exciting. Start breaking down some tape of those guys. And for you guys, for the people who do enjoy the film reviews, they're going to be crammed a little bit. I have 5 or 6 on deck right now. I only have Whitehead, Herbig, Solomon Thomas, and Jacob Martin to do. I'm doing those all this weekend. So reviews are going to be pumping out really, really quickly. You're getting Lakin Tomlinson and Conklin, which was a 2-hour gush fest because I like Conklin even more than I thought I did, showing why Reed is a better player than some people think he is as well. But what he can improve on to be even better. There's tons of reviews coming out in the next couple of weeks, so make sure you catch that. Other than that, this week, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for the Mets game tonight. So at the second portion of my show, I might have a little screen right to the right of my computer to watch the Mets. Yesterday, I'm at my in-laws' house. Father-in-law is a big Yankees fan. They hit 2 home runs, talking a little bit of crap. Not really, he's actually relatively quiet. But then the Mets score back. 4 runs with obviously Marte and Escobar hitting the home runs. So fun game. Good. It was a really, really good game and electric atmosphere from what I watched. And then tonight's going to be good too. I don't like that it's a short series. I don't like that it's only 2, but Scherzer is pitching on his birthday. So hopefully the Mets can win. I know there's Yankees fans out there, but it was fun to see the Mets beat them because especially, listen, not going to lie, to me, there are some Yankees fans who come onto Twitter and a little bit confident. I looked at some people saying, "Oh, the Mets are supposed to be good" and all that stuff. Ha ha ha! And it got the 2 home runs, and the Mets came back and won. So it was nice, especially from the little brother team. So, but other than that, let's get back to the chat. And I have a bunch of topics to get through. 2.5 hour show. I want to fly through some stuff. I don't necessarily always label my stuff the best. I don't put it out in like fancy topics and all that stuff and screen grab, well, not screen grabs, but like little graphics and stuff, but we're gonna fly through topics in a really kind of weird order, but it is what it is. Guys, wrote down a bunch of stuff. What's up, Maximilian? What's up, Chrono? Captain K Techno, what's up? Becton right tackle, yep. Birdog, Joy Breakdowns, what's up? So honestly, with the Becton stuff, I'll get into that really, really quickly because that's kind of not necessarily easy. But I thought Becton, if they were feeling really, really confident in him, would win the left tackle job. Maybe they went through the offseason kind of evaluating their situation. Again, however we feel about, which obviously Becton coming into shape are coming into camp in really, really good shape, is there's no better news for the Jets. Like, he looked, the picture he sent out, or the picture of him walking into camp, if he's 370, he's the lightest 370 I've ever seen. So that's obviously fantastic for the Jets. But I think there were legitimate questions in the offseason about, again, how he was going to come into camp because of, just Saleh lacking, not being, or not praising him in the press conferences. So where obviously he went out of the way for guys like Zach Wilson and others to praise them. So when he could have kind of shut down the situation with Becton right off the jump, and he doesn't do it, raises some questions. But the fact that he came in shape, and it seems like he's really ready to play that right tackle role. He played next to ABT in camp last year, so now they're playing next to each other on the right side. Becton played right tackle at Louisville. Like, he didn't have bad film there. I broke some of that down. So I'm okay with that. And I think too, even with Becton, maybe they just feel a little bit more comfortable with Fant, just in terms of consistency. Now, do they look to sign Fant? Like, if he's going to be the left tackle, you think you want him to be your left tackle going forward, and especially if you're going to put him at left tackle over, a first round draft pick from a couple of years ago. So you must have a lot of either faith and or confidence in Fant signing it in the future, because you don't want to just continue to rotate out left tackles. So it's obviously good for Fant's camp too. Like, okay, we're the left tackle now. Let's pay up. So we'll see what it's going to be. Some people think around 12, 13. I think it's going to be closer to 14 million, maybe $15 million for Fant. Do you do it? It's obviously a high price. I would probably say right around, I would say maybe 13. But then again, looking at what Riley Reif got, which we'll talk about in a little bit, if he's getting like $11, $12 million, Fant's a much better player than him. Like, what did Morgan Moses get? Like $6, $7 million? And now Riley Reif from the Bears is getting 10, 11, 12, wherever the hell that contract is. Like, absolute poverty franchise right now. That is terrible. So, but yeah, with Becton, obviously Saleh comes out. He praises Becton's weight. He said there's no restrictions. He said the weight's getting down. He said he's been in the building the last 40 days. And then I think Connor Hughes tweeted that he said there were legit questions and concerns from the Jets coaching staff as the team broke minicamp about Becton. And again, I think that Saleh not coming out and praising him, or at least kind of trying to push aside some of the criticism, it's sketching me out a little bit too. So obviously comes back in great shape, and the Jets are apparently thrilled. So that's the word from the guys in the building. Again, how much you trust the beat reporters in terms of what people are saying in the building, that's on you. But obviously the Jets, you'd think with the situation, they are all really, really happy with Becton. So he's coming to camp healthy. We have Fant, who played well at left tackle last year. No, he didn't play any superstar DNs or anything like that, but he still played really, really well. So that looks to be solidified, and especially again, if Becton's going to be ripped up like this, then it's going to give him his best shot to not get injured. Be as light as you can possibly be. Don't carry around that fat. And obviously, he's just a big guy overall. So him just being as light as possible is going to be as good for his joints, or is going to be good for his joints. So let's keep it light. So it's exciting. But I think there was another update from Becton's. I should get a bunch of random notes from his personal nutritionist. I think this was from Samini. He said, or she said, quote, "He has slimmed down a lot. He's looking good, feeling good, and he is doing a lot better. He's excited to play. I'm proud of my guy." And then there were some other notes about him not, or him coming in healthy and passing the physical, and then getting taken off PUP. But that already happened, so I don't have to get to that. But let's see who else is in here. I think I hit everything with Becton. I don't think I had any other notes on him. I just wrote down a couple of random things. Again, a lot of stuff happened in the last 3 days, especially when you don't have anything to talk about for months, and then little news starts coming out. I just started putting it all in the notes section. Like, we're going to talk about this and this and this and that, and it's so unorganized because I just don't dedicate time to that. I just go through and look like an idiot, so it is what it is. Steven's in here, so happy Becton looks good. Yeah, it's obviously really positive news. Like, if you're talking about minus Zach Wilson, who's obviously the biggest X factor for Jets X factor, the biggest X factor of the entire Jets season. But past that, you're talking about Becton as probably number 2, right? Maybe after him, we're talking about like Carl Lawson, Quentin Williams type players, but Becton's probably number 2 on that list. Out of all the guys you want coming to camp and looking really good. So what's up, Elias? What's up, Sneakers to Boots? What's up, Mark Riz? Bunch of people excited, I'm sure, about training camp. I am so excited to just get into the season and the summer again. I've expressed I don't really like the summer. I like to have a nice little Oktoberfest, a nice delirium, watching October football, crisp, high 50s, low 60s, slight breeze at MetLife in the morning. It's just, there's nothing better. Obviously, the stadium could be better, but nothing better than getting to a tailgate with that October kind of briskness in the air. It's great. So I cannot wait. And to just watch football and be able to break it down. Even though I've been breaking down a lot of stuff, there's really been no offseason. I just watched 3 or 4 games of Nate Herbig the other day, who good backup guard. We'll talk about him in the future after we get all those reviews out. But TJ Decker, what's up? Jets mess. What's up? B Santana, Becton right tackle. Let's get a top 5 O-line. I'm not gonna guarantee that. I wouldn't bet on that necessarily. But if they were to finish top 5, but I think you're absolutely nuts. I wouldn't, to be completely honest. Look, and I should be honest regardless, but Fant was a top 10-ish left tackle last year. Becton, yeah, he has to make the transition, but his first year, we thought he was in that top 10-ish range with a really, really high ceiling if he improved on his technique, which hopefully he did, and hopefully he worked on some stuff and worked on some stuff with Duke Manyweather over the last couple of months to improve that technique. We're talking about a guy who could be the best right tackle in the league, like in terms of his physicality, his ability to be. He could be the best right tackle in the league, or at least top 3. So if we're hitting the ceiling, could we be top 5? Sure. Laken Tomlinson plays at a Pro Bowl level again. Maybe it's a little bit overrated of a year for him, but still a very good player. AVT, personally to me, and maybe now if Becton is really healthy, it might change my outlook a little bit, like going into the season. But let's say a week ago, to being completely transparent, I thought AVT was going to be the best offensive lineman on the Jets this year. Could be Becton. You could be looking at a Pro Bowl guard in Laken Tomlinson being the 3rd best offensive lineman on the Jets. And then you don't have scrubs with McGovern, who I think is about an average player, and Fant, who's obviously solid as well. So could they be top 5? Why not? If everything shakes out our way, they could be. The thing is, we are so scorned over the last couple of years, we assume everything's going to be terrible. But imagine like things actually working out, which it seems like at least to start camp, stuff is starting to turn to the Jets' favor. Knock on wood. It's still early. We had a lot of positivity going into August last year too, and then some things happened. So let's stay healthy. Just please, God, stay healthy. They've been so injured, and you can have all this positivity. I'm redirect. We're not even getting into it. Let's just keep going to the chat. Steven Engel, what's up? Jet the fuck up. Yeah, of course. Again, really, really excited for the season. There's so many young, exciting guys too. Just the youth on it, which, by the way, again, I do play Madden. I don't play a ton, but I do play like a league with my friends. And to see the Jets Madden rankings, like the fact that I think the Bears are higher, the Jets are stacked in terms of young talent. And, obviously some improvement, but like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, and like we went through the weapons before. They have a ton of talent. The 3rd or 4th lowest team, like, bro, which who cares really at the end of the day. Spin Max, what's up? Glad to hear you live. Let's talk. Yep. I'm going to try to move through my topics as best as I possibly can, or as quick as I possibly can, because I know you guys are going to want to throw a lot of stuff out in the chat too that I want to react to. So what's up, Rob B? Mickey Free. Oh my God, it's so close. August 12th, right? It's the first one, the first preseason game. I kind of want to pull a repeat of last year. I think after the first preseason game, I think that's when Kyle came over. I had a few beverages, and then we talked until like 3:00 in the morning about a preseason game and how excited we were. So I have work though, so I don't know if I'm able to pull it off because the game's gonna end at like 11:30. I have to go into work at 2. Maybe I'll stream from like 11:30, 11:45 to like 1:20. That might be the best I could do, but I'm not going to be able to have some deliriums or anything like that. So that's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's go Mets. Yep. Of course, there's gonna be that. But listen, again, I like all of the younger brothers. So you have to appreciate it. If you're a Jets fan, you have to, and obviously you're gonna have your certain gripes with certain fans and things like that. And Mets fans, I know that just like Knicks fans to the Nets over the last couple of years, which the Nets are. I don't know what's going on with them. They might be keeping Kevin Durant now. I don't know. I think it's Kevin Durant who says he doesn't want to go to Boston because he's heard all about it. But then you have him as the number 1 favorite for them, like getting Jayon Brown, whoever. But nonetheless, Knicks fans talk a lot of smack against the Nets if they even play well for a quarter or play well for a half. I get texts and all that stuff, and I don't think the Nets have lost the Knicks in like 2-3 years. But nonetheless. The Mets have always been that little brother. And yeah, do Mets fans talk shit, usually flames out in June, July because they get injured and whatever else, and they're just terrible, and they had the Wilpons and all this stuff, yes. But this year, just kind of like the Jets to the Mets, it feels a lot different. And it's different because obviously the owner. But still, the Jets, the Mets are on the uptrend. Will the Devils ever get out of the basement? I don't know, but it seems like they're building the right way right now. We'll see if it works out, but I don't have a lot of faith. Like I said, the Nets are kind of whatever. The trumpet sounding. Yep. For Diaz. I lied to my friend one time. I think we were probably I don't know how long Diaz signed, like 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. Again, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I told my friend he was my cousin. He actually believed me for a little while, which how could you be any more dumb? But nonetheless, Jets, Rangers, Yankees, it's relatively popular. I don't watch any other sports besides MMA. It's all just they're going to run, right? I'm not sure what that necessarily means. I watched the grandkids play wrestling. I am not sure what that means either. Hey Joe, did you catch Green Bean stream last night with Country Club Connor Hughes? I did not. I think I'm gonna check it out though. I'll check it out because I know Green Bean is definitely like anti-media, and obviously Connor is media. So I wonder how confronting they were on certain topics. So I'm sure it was good. Obviously, go support Green Bean and watch that. Good job by Green Bean. I saw the whole Twitter thing last week. Obviously, I follow Green Bean, and it's interesting they did a podcast or I guess a live together. So thoughts on Mims supposedly having a great first day of camp. Reporter said, yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna kind of bring up the topics as you guys pull them up and delete them off my thing, and then we'll just work through them instead of trying to avoid topics I'm bringing up anyway. It kind of just seems stupid, right? So let's all overreact. And I think I put this out on Twitter. Again, follow me there, JoeRB31. If you do have Twitter, I think you'd follow me if you were on there, hopefully. But nonetheless, we were all gonna let's allow ourselves to overreact a little bit. And I put that on Twitter. And last week, I think with Kyle, I said, like, even if this guy can get 200-300 yards, even like 250 yards, a couple days ago, we would have probably signed up for it because you're looking at him as the sixth option. And again, the sixth option, oh my God, he's a sixth option as a receiver. What are you talking about? Listen, last year you had guys like Tyreek Black playing reps over him. So he had like 9 catches last year. So if we could get that as a 5th or 6th option at the receiver core, not to mention you have guys like Breece Hall, like Conklin, obviously Uzama, Carter, et cetera. So in terms of targets, you'd be really low on the offense. If he can get 200 yards, 250, I was happy with it. But now with this, if we're going to overreact, if he could be the number 4, which last year, again, we went in confident because we had Crowder, who was really consistent and good from the slot. We had Corey Davis, who is a high tier or is a high tier, but probably now after a bad year, maybe a mid-tier 2, which, okay, fine. Still a solid player. Elijah Moore, like all that excitement. Mims coming in after a first year where, yeah, he was injured to start the year, but he came in, and when we played with Flacco, he was really good because Flacco could get the ball vertical. Zach Wilson can get the ball vertical. Obviously, Darnold couldn't do it. So I was excited about Mims and thought he would be a legit starter. And obviously we had, really disappointing camp and year, et cetera. But even now as a 400 yards, 500 yards, like could you imagine how much of a big uptick that would take to the offense because, or be for the offense, because we haven't been talking about him as, a real option because of his last year. That's being obviously optimistic. If we're being super, super optimistic, which, okay, again, let's allow ourselves, would I bet on it? No. But if Mims could be what we thought he was coming out of college, where I thought he could be a number 1 or number 2, if he turns into a number 1, number 2, let's just say number 2. Like let's max out the absolute ceilings. He's a really good number 2, Michael Pittman type player, which again, we can argue over semantics whether Pittman is, a number 1 or 2, whatever. But I'm just saying that type of player. Could you imagine him, Elijah Moore, Wilson, and obviously you get rid of Corey Davis and you have Conklin? Like that would be ridiculous. But let's obviously pump the brakes and realize at the same time it's one day of camp. So does it really matter? No. But he came in, he attacked the ball vertically. They said he had a couple of nice catches. Looks like he's playing with some spry in his step, which he didn't have last year. So that it's obviously exciting because if there's 2 players we're talking about all offseason in terms of just that, not even just that class, but players in general. I would say out of the guys who need to have like that bounce back year, we're talking a lot about Mims, Becton, and Carl Lawson. And we have Carl Lawson who came off the PUP. So there's a ton of guys who have to read about the PUP who came off and on, but we don't really have a lot of injured players. Let me find that. List of these guys. I'm doing it again. I honestly, I don't like it, but the sun's in my eyes again. I just can't. I was trying to avoid it. Usually I started with people are like, what the hell are the glasses for? But with the light and the sun, I don't know if it's a midnight thing where my eyes are just super sensitive to bright lights. But it's just, it bothers me to look at a screen for this long. Especially when everything's in white right now. So, let's see. The other guys who are with the PUP, obviously. So Becton came off the PUP list. Who else came off the PUP list? I know you guys are telling me this in the chat right now. You're probably screaming at me, but I forget. So the only 2 still on it: Fant just got activated, a couple of hours ago. So that note is old. Ruckert's still on it, which he had an injury last year. We all expected Ruckert to be on it, so that's no new news. And then Coleman, I saw that he was on the list, but then I also saw he was on the NFI list, which is the non-football injury list, I believe that's called. I don't know exactly how that works. I'm not the most technical person with all that, but I think he can come back pretty much at any time. So you're looking at two guys who we expected, or one guy who we expected in Ruckert, and Coleman's the only other guy. Like, they're coming in very, very healthy again. Knock on wood, it lasts. It lasts, because last year obviously did not. So. Other than that, some minor signings. I'm going to keep moving through the chat as well, but I just want to get through some of the stuff that's kind of just throwing topics because it's not really important at all. The Jets released DJ Montgomery, which last year he had a solid camp. He didn't really do anything with the Jets. I'm not sure if he got any. I think he maybe got a couple of reps during the season, but no more than like 40, right? Like, I forget at the end of the year, especially when I was away for 2 weeks, but. They released him. They released Craig James, who we literally just brought up last week. We're saying, they signed him, and he's a special team stud with the Eagles, and he's battled injuries, and could he take over Hardy's spot? Gone within like a week, or not even 6 days, 5 days, whatever it was. And they released Drew Samia, and then they signed Chris Strevler, Rashad Davis, and Isaiah Williams. Isaiah Williams was on and off the practice squad last season, I believe. And I know, I looked it up, he was signed to a future contract in February. Now he's cut in May, and he's signed back. He's a camp body. He's nothing more than that. In terms of I'll run through some of these. In terms of some other free agents to sign, obviously we're going to talk about the Bears, who signed Riley Reef to a 1-year deal up to $12.5 million, which I think it's like really 10.5 or 11, but it can work up to 12.5. I don't know if it's like incentives for playing time, whatever it may be, but the fact that they signed Riley Reef to a 1-year deal, again, $12 million, let's just call it. Just absolute poverty. Like, how do you sign that guy to that big of a contract when Morgan Moses got what did he get from the Ravens? $6-7 million, right? It was nothing more than that. I cannot believe he got that much money. So no way. If the Jets signed him for $12.5 million, I'd have lost it. Like, there are still some guys out there. I'll bring up a list in a little bit of some of the positions I want the Jets to go through. But like Dwayne Brown, I know I think it's like similar to Quinn's situation. Like, he tried to bring a gun on a plane, not a gun on a plane in his bag, whatever it was. I'm sure he wasn't trying to, I'm not going to go there. I'm sure he wasn't trying to do anything bad. It was just an oversight. So yeah, a silly arrest. I believe that's what it was. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. But there are some guys out there. Riley Reef to a 1-year deal, $12.5 million is absolutely ridiculous. So hopefully they bring in a tackle. I'm still not comfortable with Max Mitchell being the primary backup, but I still think they're going to sign a tackle. I think they realize that. I have faith enough in Joe Douglas and how he values the offensive line to sign another offensive tackle. And then past that, I think they might sign a linebacker, which Quan, obviously every time Quan tweets, I think he tweets something today about camp, and like a bunch of Jets fans are tweeting him. Obviously, the Jets fans are a little bit starved for a linebacker and the Jets are starved for a linebacker on this team. And again, let's be positive. Okay, CJ Mosley continues what he did last year, where he got a bunch of tackles. Doesn't really matter, but nonetheless, he played well. I think he had to make up for some of the mistakes around him from his teammates. So he plays at that level. He's surrounded by better talent. He looks good. Quincy Williams has a full offseason with the Jets. He looks good. But past that, are we really that hopeful that, and that's on the positive side for both of those guys, are we really confident in that and the fact that they're not going to get injured? And then are we confident in, what's the guy's name, Harris? Are we confident in Sherwood? Are we confident in Nazaruddin? I'm not. What if Mosley goes down? Again, I said that. What if Mosley goes down? They're running a 4-3 versus a team, and don't give me the nickel stuff. They're running a 4-3 versus a team who's heavy 22, 23. Could be the Browns, could be the Ravens, could be the Bengals, could be not the Bengals as much, obviously, because of the receivers, but it could be a lot of, Steelers. It could be a lot of teams over the first couple of weeks who are running those sets. Mosley goes down early, and you're starting off, and then your three linebackers are Hamza, Sherwood, and Quincy Williams. No, it can't happen, because people de-emphasize linebackers in the system, but with how hard they're going to push up field, I'll choose my words wisely right there. But with how hard the defensive line is going to push up the field, the linebackers are going to have to make up for a lot of mistakes at times. And if you have guys who can't click and close and who can't read because they're not, read in terms of just offensive schemes and rushing schemes and things like that, if they can't read because they're used to being safeties in college from Sherwood and Nazaruddin, and both of them are relatively raw in certain aspects, now they have to diagnose it quicker in their second years. I'm not confident in that happening. Now, could it? Yeah, sure. I'm not relying on it. No way. So let's keep moving down. I don't know if there's any other guys in terms of the people who were signed or anything like that. But nonetheless, let's keep moving to the chat. The Jets announced Wednesday that they signed Luke Baracco and Javante. I don't know if you're screwing with me, Matthias or Matthias. I always never know how to say it, but I'd never have heard those names. If they are real, which I don't know. Okay, let's see. I thought the left tackle spot was supposed to be a competition. Why did Salah ended on a day one, even though Becton was ready to go? Again, maybe over the offseason, they discussed it as a staff and they felt more confident with George Fant's kind of reliability. And Becton, maybe they discussed with Becton, they're like, hey, we want to keep him in left tackle. That's where, and obviously I don't think they're going to be as transparent and be as up front, but maybe again, they expressed their confidence in Becton to move to right tackle and how good of a fit it would be for him to stay with ABT. Like the thing is, and I know certain players, what was his name, Orlando Brown or whoever the hell it was, from the Ravens a couple of years ago, or whatever team he went from again. I blanked out on that. He wanted to be a left tackle, so he left the Ravens. I think he went to the Raiders or whoever it was. But if you're a really good right tackle in the league, you're gonna make $18, $19 million a year if you're one of the best. Like, so it doesn't really matter that much. No. So I think Becton was comfortable with it. And when they discussed it with Becton, they felt he was genuine in that discussion. They said, okay, let's just do it and let's call it early, because at the end of the day, and this is what we brought up last week, like, and this is when we heard that both Fant and Becton were on the PUP list, the PUP list. We were like, oh, well, when are they going to compete for the tackle job? Because there's only 3 weeks. There's only 3 weeks until the first preseason game. Like, let's get guys comfortable and where they're supposed to be. And again, with Becton now, who's moving to the right side, you want to give him as much time as humanly possible to get comfortable, which obviously has a big effect on Zach Wilson in the offense. And the same thing with ABT too. Like, let's get him over there. Let's get him working with Becton. They haven't played this position in a couple of years. So 3 weeks is not a long time to learn a whole new, not a whole new position. They both played it before, but adjust to that position now at the NFL level. It's tough. It's, again, people think it's as simple, left tackle, right tackle, switch in Madden. It's not. It could take a little bit. Fortunately for both guys, they have played those positions, so you're more confident in it. If we heard about, or if we looked at Becton's career and he only played right tackle once in high school and he never even played it at college, okay, I'm more concerned. But he played it plenty, and he would switch during a drive at Louisville to right tackle. And ABT, I think he could play any position on the offensive line, legitimately. Like, if you put him at any position, I think he's going to be average to above average. I think ABT legitimately might be the best offensive lineman the Jets have. Now, I think Becton has the higher ceiling, but I'm much more comfortable with ABT's floor. And again, I think his ceiling is still a very, very good player, Pro Bowl level guard. Let's say he plays 11 years with the Jets. He's a guy who hits, 3, 4, 5 Pro Bowls. I could see that for ABT. I really like him as a player. So, but now with him and now Becton, like, okay, we were writing off that 2020 class. Listen, if Mims hits to be that 400-yard guy, 500-yard guy, Becton hits, we're talking about Huff, we're talking about Guidry, like it's Hall. It's a class that people look at and they're disappointed with. But if a lot of those guys hit, it's better than a lot of classes over the last 20 years. And like, people think like the draft is obviously such a gimme, but if you hit on like 30% of your picks, you're a good GM right now. Like, it's so many people miss. So if you get Becton out of that, Mims, obviously depending on how you label it, but like to me, I include Huff and Guidry as part of that draft class. Hall is probably the best fourth string corner in the league, or one of them, top 5. I don't have green color glasses on right now. Well, I have glasses on. Again, it's not a thing. It's the sun. It's the freaking, I don't know what it is. It's the midnight shift, but with the sun in my eyes and the light here, the stupid freaking circle light that makes it seem better, I just can't do it. So it is what it is. I don't care if it comes with things. I hate people who wear sunglasses inside, to be completely honest. Like, if I walk into a bank and it's light, and it's just a normal day in there, people wearing glasses, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? It's not dark in here. Like, what? Or it's not light in here. Just take the glasses off. But now I'm that guy, apparently. So it is what it is. Yes, here we go. Friggle D. Yes, that picture is cut off. Okay, perfect. There is a little, what is it, like a Jets ribbon or something? I can't see that close. But there's something there blocking that, so that's good. Seniority. Okay, football is back-ish. Oh, it's back. It's like, this is a very good time of year for me. April hits, and April hits. I'm like, damn, the summer's coming. It's just my job. It's a lot busier. I don't like the heat, just things like that, the beach, whatever. And August rolls around and hits August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. People start leaving for college and stuff like that. So it starts getting a little bit less busy. and then training camp hits, and then preseason hits, and then you're rolling to September. It's back. It's definitely here. The fact that we're all talking about fantasy drafts and all this stuff, which there may or may not be a fantasy announcement soon. So stay tuned. But because we might need a couple people for a league, which again, we have a league and we're cutting the bottom 6. Last year we had 18 people. It was way too many. I cut the bottom 6 people. And then we're going to make it 16 next year. And then we'll see if it's going to be 16 or 12 going forward. But we want to rotate out like the bottom 25% or so of the league to give people, new people a shot to get in. And people who are in it can qualify. It's just about how quickly you can email me. So that's really all it is. B Santana, what's up? It's going to be a great season if we can only, talk about that plenty. Things can work out for us. It hasn't in so long. It seems like, and we haven't made the playoffs in, 13 years or 12 years, whatever it is, the longest drought in the NFL. And we've only had one winning season since or in the last 11 years, 2015, one time winning season. Sorry, I kind of said that backwards. But it's been bad for so long. I see these other teams, or maybe not the Lions, it's not the best example, but the Bengals working out and the Browns for a couple of seasons, which the Browns are, to be completely honest, did it really work out for them with the roster they have? If Watson doesn't come back this season, which, does he not? I would guess not. Their Super Bowl window, if you look at their contracts, which again, the contract could be a little bit of a myth. So how do they work it next year? But their window seems to be like closing this year. Like this is their last year to make a real run. So if their best run was the AFC Championship game, right, against was it the Pats or was it the Chiefs? I think it was the Chiefs. But did it really work out? They didn't get to the ship. I don't know. But yeah, teams turn around all the time. Unfortunately, we have not been able to. There's a time for everybody. It's unexpected. The Bengals we were shitting on for years. The Raiders have been terrible for years. They turned it around. There's plenty of teams who turn around. I think it's the Jets' shot. Unfortunately, again, the AFC is very, very strong, but at the same time, like no excuses. Get 7, 8, 9 wins. Maybe make up. If Zach Wilson, listen, I've been saying average. Like I'm hoping he's average. Why can't he take a massive leap and be near the top 10 or in the top 10? Am I saying it's going to happen? Would I bet on it? No. But could it happen? Hell yeah, why not? And if we stay healthy, like people are saying, like we hope, if Wilson plays to that level, why can't they win 9, 10 games? Who's to say? The Bengals went from what 3-13 to the Super Bowl or something like that. Maybe 4-12. I forget exactly, but Herbig apparently trimmed down. He wants to prove he's more than a backup. So that's good for your day. I'm not going to, and you guys will see the Herbig review when it comes out. He is probably the slowest player I've ever watched. And with that being said, he's still a good backup because he's pretty technically proficient. He's very slow. He's very boxy. He plays very high. But just in terms of like knowing his assignment and pass protection and passing off stunts and blitzes, like he's solid. I think he's a better pass protector than run blocker. But if he is able to move a little bit quickly, because he's what for he's 6'4", I think 6'4", 330. He's a big boy. If he could cut 10, 15 pounds and make himself more laterally explosive and just more explosive in general for the system, it would be much, much better. Now, do I think he's ever going to be a starter for the Jets? No. Is it possible? I guess, but I think he's a good backup. Unless he takes a massively big turn, I'm not comfortable with him as a starter. Now, listen, the Jets have started guys like, GVR over the last couple of years and Brian Winters, et cetera. So he'd be just as good, if not better than those guys. We're above that standard now. We have to be above that standard. So let him be a backup. Is he gone next? I don't know. So, or is he gone next year? Potentially looking for a starting job, but you can rotate out backups a little bit. So that's why you like to draft. Like if Cam Clark worked out and he was here for another 2 years under control, which honestly, when Cam Clark got drafted, I thought, year one, okay, redshirt him, maybe he plays towards the end of the year. And then year two, he could be a starter because his film was legitimately good at North Carolina State or Charlotte, wherever the hell it is. NC State. No, it wasn't NC State. Some Carolina, whatever freaking school he went to. So, Joe, Love Sal's decision to end the position at left tackle. Again, you have 3 weeks to figure it all out. It's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of hitting. So it's even more, or the time together means even less than it did, a few years ago because they don't bang as much. So you've really gotta hit it early. I'm very comfortable with the decision, 2 rules for training camp: stay healthy and don't get injured. Yes, those are the top 2 rules. Hawk, I love that. Green and white is coming up. The green and white, I haven't gone in a really long time. I don't think I've ever gone to the green and white, but last year everybody said it was like massively disappointing, right? Duncan, they went as basically a glorified practice, which it has been for a couple of years, but even more so last year, it was just not worth going. But let's see. Rock, paper, scissors. I'm not sure. I think there's some beef between John and Steven. I think it's some playful fighting here, but I don't know. See you Mets fans in the World Series. If that was to happen, that would be electric. Like, can you imagine an actual Subway Series? And when they went in, what was it, 2001? 2001 was a Subway Series, right? I was 8 years old, so did I really give a shit? No. Would I give a shit now? Yeah, I would say I'm a casual to slightly above casual Mets fan. But yeah, it'd be exciting. I'm still taking Jets Super Bowl one time over 3 Mets World Series, Nets winning championships, and the Devils winning multiple Stanley Cups. I would take 1 Super Bowl over that. I care about the Jets so much more that I would easily not, without a second of hesitation, give up all 3 of those teams and all 3 of those sports to watch the Jets wrestling. It's not even remotely similar in terms of the level of fandom with those teams. So yeah, while I'll be really happy, there's nothing like the Jets. If the Jets win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be unbearable or just off the radar for like a month. I don't know what's going to happen. We deserve it. Fans really freaking deserve it. So, George, are you not concerned about AVT's pass blocking? It was bad. Yes, and adjusting to stunts and blitzes at the NFL level and how quick you have to be to drop your post or power step or get good hand placement because of how freaking strong defensive linemen are in the NFL. I am confident in his ability. I was confident with it at USC about pass blocking and picking up stunts and things like that. There's an adjustment period in the NFL level. Offensive line is not easy to play. I have a lot of faith in AVT because of how hard he works and how technically proficient he is for the most part. Now, you're going to have lapses as a rookie, but I have a lot of faith in AVT being a very good guard for the Jets. They definitely trying to trade Mims. Look, listen, before when they were hyping up in the media, sure, but now if he's coming out in camp, let's say they did come into camp today. They know they walked into the building, they walked into the turf, we're going to trade Mims. Maybe they're watching Mims now and they're like, damn, maybe we don't really need that number 4 and that number 5 receiver. Because listen, at the end of the day, Barrios is a good player. Do I trust him completely? Is he the best number 4 in the league? No. He's more again, a gadgety slot guy. If you can have a guy like Mims who can win in the red zone, who could play X, who's a physical freak, all these guys are great. And maybe Garrett Wilson would have some discussion on this, but Mims is a freak of nature. So if you just send him vertical in the red zone and he starts getting the route tree, and maybe that's what the main hang up was last year, putting pieces together. Maybe it's just the playbook didn't click. It's a very complex playbook for receivers. Maybe it just didn't click. Now, after a year of learning it, now he's re-engaged and he could be what we thought him to be. I couldn't be more ready for that. We have Mims t-shirts that we made. We were all very excited. Nobody thought we were getting him. When Joe Douglas traded down, when he was on the board, we all freaked out. And then he got drafted, and I gushed over him with Marcus Coleman for 3 hours or whatever it was. So I hope it works out for the Jets. Now, if they trade him and they get a higher pick, great. I could see that happening as well. But at the end of the day, if he's going out there improving on the field, maybe they're looking at him and like, damn, we can use this dude. If he's really impressing them that much, he's on a cheap contract. If he could be that much of a weapon, can we ever have too many weapons? What if we're going to be super optimistic and say, okay, he's good enough where he could replace Corey Davis next year, and you have Mims on a rookie deal, Wilson on a rookie deal, Elijah Moore on a rookie deal, a really good young tight end in Conklin and Uzama. What's going to happen with him after this year and the year after that, I'm not sure. Jeremy Rucker, they have a really young core, and then not even talking about Becton, AVT, McGovern, who's still relatively young in terms of offensive lineman years. Fant, they could, even Tomlinson. Tomlinson's what, 32, 33? Guards can play until they're 35. Why can't he be here for 2-3 years? It's the young core of this roster and how they're building is really exciting. Now they just have to build upon it, or not build upon it, but just build that consistency with each other, get familiar with the scheme, and hopefully they can win some freaking games. But let's keep Mims. Let's keep him on the team. Let's let him dominate. Again, we can pull up some. I'm not gonna do it now, but pull up some plays of him in his rookie year. Just go watch his rookie year highlight film, which again we don't really want to promote that stuff. I hate highlight films, but in general, he put enough up there that were exciting. So. Where's the Sunnies at today, bro? I'm telling. Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. Massive respect to Green Bean and Connor. Was a great show. Yeah, go check it out. I plan on checking it out to see how, because I see the legitimate gripes from both sides, because I think, listen, from the beat reporters side of it, the Jets have sucked for so long. They're going to report negative stuff. There's really not a lot of positives to take. But at the same point, when the beat reporters don't tell us that, Mekhi Becton was in the building for the last 40 days, why didn't we hear that until now? So like, what are you doing? And they do take some shots at players unnecessarily at times. But then again, at the same point, if you're a big Mims fan, and I know Hughes reported the thing where he was lackadaisical and put up videos of him in drills and stuff like that, that's his job to report that. That's what he's seeing. That's what he's hearing. But us as fans are going to hate him for that. Like, we can't always hate the messenger. Now that when the messenger, I'm not saying Hughes, I'm just saying the media sometimes in general twist their messages or are just uninformed in their opinions, that's when we get mad at them. So I see the balance. I see it from both sides. So I'm interested to see some of that, hear some of that stuff. Let's see. Mims showcase in full effect. Let's see. Okay. Gotta love training camp. Yeah, summer of Mims. Hopefully it happens. Again, it's not like Mims came in and has done absolutely nothing in his NFL career. His rookie year was exciting. So why can't we at least get that back? And if we extrapolate just what he was in that rookie year, a guy who's going to be a jump ball guy, a guy who's going to be able to win the inside because he's physical on slants, like really simple stuff. He could do that at the NFL level. We saw it. It's not hype like Salim Hakeem or any one of these guys, or even Jeff Smith, who we hear hype about, and then comes to the regular season, does nothing ever. Mims proved it for a couple. Again, it was only a couple of games. It was only I believe it was Chargers, Miami, Pats, and there was another game. There's one more game in there. I think he had like over 40, 50, 60 yards, whatever it was. But I feel like Crowder faked injuries a lot. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're a player who's playing for like a 4-10 team, if you have a stinger, are you gonna push it and maybe hurt yourself in future contract negotiations, whatever, as much as you would for a team who's maybe 10-5 competing for playoffs? Yeah, you're gonna take some games off. That happens. But Raymond drops a pass tomorrow, and yeah, we're all out. It could be like everything, the trade thing. It could 100%. We could see this turn into. I think somebody said I was crazy for saying they get like a 5th or a 6th for Mims because Baker was traded for a 5th or whatever. When Sam Darnold was traded for a 2nd, a 4th, and a 6th, and they got Herndon in for Herndon a 6th for a 4th, Blake Cashman for a 6th, but no, Mims for a 4th or a 5th would be crazy. Could it happen? Listen, they see him every day. They know the work ethic. They know how he is in the media rooms. They see him at practice. If they think he's worth trading for a 4th or a 5th round pick, I wouldn't. At this point, I think I'm going to attach myself enough to him and allow myself to fanboy out enough for a 5th round pick. I'm not going to be. I would understand it. I'm not rooting for a 5th round pick. Anything below that, I won't be happy. A 4th round pick. If right now, okay, we all in here had to pull the trigger on a 4th round pick for Mims, yes or no? I'm probably going to say yes. And again, it's kind of hard to say that. People are, you're negative after a day of. It's a day of hype. And he has plenty of potential. Like I've been hyping him up because of his potential that he showed both in his rookie year and at Baylor. At the end of the day, we don't see a lot of guys who come back from what he experienced in year 2. Justin, again, when he had like 9 catches, a bunch of penalties, all that stuff. And I get the circumstance, okay, the food poisoning and the playbook and all that stuff. I'm sure there was reasons for the other guys who didn't work out in year 2 either. And we could have convinced ourselves of those guys too. Whoever it was, John David and Jeff Smith and whoever else, we can just make up names of 2nd round draft picks who haven't worked out or draft picks who haven't worked out and their 2nd year was bad. A lot of those guys don't turn around if they have a year as bad as Mims did. Now, could it happen? Yeah, let's be optimistic. Like, will I bet my house? No. But I'll fanboy out a little bit. If Mims can have 25, 35 catches, 350 to 450 yards, and a TD or 2, I would be happy with that. And that's obviously I'm not the best with stats, but that's a pretty large in terms of his yards per catch. That would obviously be really good. It's usually a little bit lower than I believe. Again, off the top of my head, a TD or 2. Again, you're talking about a guy last year, like what, 9, let's say 9 catches, 80 yards and 5 penalties. Like that was his stat line. If we can get 25, 35 catches, 300, 450 yards and a TD or 2, Hawk, we're talking about an offense that's going to be really, really efficient because not just from Mims numbers, and let's assume we're healthy with this because we could see this being much more likely. Let's say Corey Davis goes down for the year. Okay, now this isn't even that great of a stat line, but assuming health, you're looking at Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, who are locks to get more targets than him. You're talking about Tyler Conklin, Uzama, who I think are locks, Breece Hall, Carter, who are absolute locks. Now, Barrios, you'd assume is a lock, so he'd be like at best the 9th best option on offense. Or I just said at best the 9th best, whatever. The 9th best, maybe the 8th best if he overtakes Barrios. If he really has that good of a camp, and he proves out in preseason, week 1, week 2, week 3, he starts to really ascend. I could see him overtaking Barrios, but that's about the highest I could see, unless I don't know. But yeah, 300. Let's just say 400 yards and 2 TDs. 30 catches, I would sign the dotted line right now. I think we'd all would, all would. There's 159 people in here. Would you guys sign the dotted line for that? I almost want to put up a poll, but I don't want to open up YouTube in my on my computer. So I'm scared of playing Crowder in Buffalo. He's going to be nice. Yeah. Listen, when you talk about that receiver core and you add Crowder to that, people are overlooking that. When you talk about a lot about Gabe Davis and Diggs, but when you take Crowder, who to be fair to him, he was playing with Sam Darnold, who was the worst quarterback in the league, or one of the worst quarterbacks in the league his first couple of years, and Zach Wilson, who obviously mightily struggled in his first year. And then you supplant him and you put him into an offense that's one of the best in the league, if not the best, with one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league. I wouldn't say he's the best quarterback in the league. He's top 5. Yeah, he could be pretty nice. That's for sure. So especially with have pressure on him, he's a number 3 receiver there, maybe number 4. I don't know how it's going to work out with him and McKenzie. You also have Knox. You also have some running backs, so he's not going to be relied on. So I think he's going to be I think he's going to blow up in terms of the stat sheet, but he's going to be a guy who's like just annoying in terms of playing the Jets, and like, he converts. He had 3 catches for 25 yards, but he had 3 or 3 of those catches were third down on third down that converted. So yeah, he's a good player. They were hyping up Mims to increase his trade value. He's gone. So again, while I agree with that, he's having good practices. The beat reporters are unless they're telling all the beat reporters, hey, let's just all lie about what we're seeing today. They saw a good practice. So I think that we saw a good practice from him. It's not the team necessarily trying to hype him up right now to trade him. Now, maybe in the offseason, he's in the best shape of his life. He came back focused and he's great. Yeah, that could be it. But a good practice is a good practice. You can't fake that. So he had a good one. That's great. It's Snoopy, Jets, Jets. Yeah, I cannot wait for the stadium experience that day. The tailgate is going to be absolutely fantastic. I think we're in J. It's going to be J1, J2, J3. I usually park in J1. I think like the whole big tailgate thing that's happening with everybody is in J3. So I'll be there for that. I'll go into the stadium. I'm going to sit with my buddies and stuff. But past that, I'm very, very excited just to do that chant. And like last year, last year we were excited, new coach, new quarterback, all that stuff. But like we knew we were not going to be overly successful. I would say most fans said like 6, 7, 8 wins. This year, a lot of fans are saying, I would say the general range is 7 to 9. Maybe some fans saying 10. I think a lot of that also has to deal with one, the conference and the schedule. If we were in the NFC, if we did more of a easier schedule to start off the year, I think that people would be predicting instead of 7 to 9, maybe 8 to 10 wins for the Jets. So you have that excitement going into week 1. It could be electric in that stadium. Like if they win that game, we're talking the loudest since 2015 with that Decker touchdown. And in terms of an opener, this year, I'm more excited this year going into the first week of the season than I am since. And again, I was much more of a stupid fan then, so I had a lot more faith in the dumb things they were doing. Like, oh my God, Darren Wahl's going to start at corner, great. But since 2011. After that AFC Championship year, like 2012, a lot of those players left. They did a lot of sketchy stuff like Kotchery and all that, and getting Derek Mason or whatever else happened. Tebow, we had a feeling we weren't going to be great. So the excitement of this year, building upon last year, I cannot wait to feel that energy in the stadium. Last year it was pretty good, and then the wins got taken out of the sails immediately. It was a play. What Marcus Matt forgot exactly who he stripped, but the refs blew the whistle way too early. He literally hit the guy, stripped him immediately. As soon as he hit, they blew the whistle. And I think they actually blew the whistle after the ball was out, but because they blew the whistle, the ball was dead as the Pats ball. And like right as soon as that happened, I was like, nope. It's just I've seen it way too many times. I'm just that negative fan, but as soon as that happened, I had a really bad feeling. Zach Wilson comes out, throws a pick. It got deflated in there. So if they can just compete with the Ravens, make it a good game, the stadium's going to be absolutely wild. And could they take it? Yeah, let's blitz the shit out of Lamar Jackson. That's what teams do when they're successful against them. Let's do it. blitz them and spy them and send, a lot of stunts and twists and all that stuff. So it's going to be fun. I hope Mims isn't propped up for a trade. Yeah. Again, 4th round pick. Okay, let's take it. I want to get to this question from D Mars. How about the lame padded helmets the guys got to wear? Oh, that's actually not what I thought you were going to say. It is what it is. Who cares with that? But it's not like we don't want our guys bashing their faces into each other or whatever. So let's wrap them in bubble wrap. Like, yeah, they might look lame, the padded helmets, the big black helmets. But at the end of the day, let's literally wrap them in bubble wrap. Like I want to go to the season healthy. So if they got to wear stupid helmets, I'm cool with it. Now in terms of other helmets, obviously what happened this week as well was the Jets black helmet that came out, which again, the whole timeline of, and wife just got home, my dogs, you might hear some barking in the background, but nonetheless, you have now, I don't know if Woody Johnson has a plan on releasing like the 80s logo jerseys next year. But the fact that he in June put out that tweet, like, how about these helmets with the highlights from the 80s, when fans have been clamoring for years for that old Jets swoosh logo, they have to hear it, or you'd assume they hear it. He puts out that, you just assume that where there's smoke, there's fire. We're going to, at the minimum, get helmets that are 80s themed. Maybe even uniforms. Like I was hyping myself up. Like maybe they're gonna get whole new freaking uniforms with the 80s stuff, not just the helmet. And then they come out with a helmet where, again, that it's okay, but I don't love the football on it. I don't, the white outline is okay, but they could have done so much better. Like just get rid of that logo and make it the green throwback Jets 80s logo. Like at the minimum, do that. At the minimum, I would like more, but you can't just bring that logo back. Like I don't get what happened. I literally don't get what happened. I can put up a highlight and then put out a helmet that has nothing to do with it. Now, overall, does the black on black look sick? Yeah, sure. But the logo kind of sucks, guys. It just does. It's not great. And the logo they had was just so classy, so clean. I loved it. And they completely, screwed that one up. Now, again, am I going to love the black helmet and think it looks cool? And if they win in it, if they beat, I think they're playing the Pats, the Bears, and the Jaguars in them, which I'll be at all 3 games. If they win, we're going to associate it with winning. We're going to love it, all that stuff. But if there are then teams who come out in 2023 with alternate unis and all that stuff, and the Jets don't follow up, and okay, this year they got the black helmet, next year now the 80s jersey's coming, or the 80s logo's coming, and that's what all the hype was, and okay, it was worth the wait. If they don't, I won't be, I'm not gonna lose it, but I'll not be happy. And there are people out there who are going to say, oh, well, who cares about the jerseys, all this stuff, as long as they win. Okay, cool. Like everybody has their preferences, but like for the people on Twitter who people are not complaining about the jersey, but discussing the jerseys, like quote tweet, who cares about jerseys? I care about wins. It's like, dude, just don't hit send on the tweet. Just, you like your own stuff. Me personally, playing football, having to choose my number, jerseys changing, logos changing. I like the aesthetics of football. I like to see running backs who wear turf tape. Like everybody likes their own thing. So I care. I want the 80s freaking logo back. I wasn't even alive in the 80s, but just looking at all their throwback unis and how clean they are, how good they are, I think that's the nicest one. I honestly think that the Jets jerseys before this one were good. The problem is, I think, did Nike take over Reebok, or did Reebok take over Nike? I think it was it's Reebok then Nike, right? Whichever one it was. The old ones were, the green was much, much better. In like 2011, 2012, like 12, whatever it was, they changed companies, and the green became a lot more dull than it was. So like 2009, 8 Jets, that green, cool. The like 2011 and 12, 13, whenever that change happened, I'm not a big fan of that green, that logo, but in general, whatever. Let's keep moving on. We have actual things to talk about, not jerseys. So what's up, Scott Wilson? Let's see. Everybody needs someone to talk to. I'm just watching from the beginning. Okay. What's up, Jets King? Safeties on the roster. Which safeties on the roster are strong and free? That's a good question. So to me, you have strong safety. You have, okay, let's do free safety actually first. LaMarcus Joyner's free safety. Ashton Davis is free safety. I think Elijah Riley, and again, when you watch a lot of plays, you forget, but Elijah Riley's more of a free safety, and then strong is I guess Ashton Davis, and then you think Pinnock would be a free safety because of his coverage, but the reason he was good at Pitt was because of physicality. So does he play strong safety. You think because of that physicality, but at the same time, moving from corner into strong safety, much different ball game. So is he comfortable with that? It's kind of a it's kind of a side topic to think about. Like, who's the backup strong safety? Like, who would you prefer? You know, to me, watching his college film, it would probably be Ashton Davis because of his physicality and his ability to contort his body and work his way through traffic in the box. But it seems like when he does get on the field for the Jets, he's more in coverage situations and not as much in the box. So I would say it probably should be Davis. But Pinnock and Davis are kind of sketchy. But it's an interesting question. That's a good thing to watch in camp to see who's listed where. And I know they can't necessarily share it, but yeah, I would say Ashton Davis would be the backup strong. And again, is Elijah Riley on the team? I would probably guess not. Is Will Parks on the team, which I think he was more of a strong safety? Probably not. But that battle is going to be interesting. So what do you think about the possibility from William of Sauce and Hall on the outside with Reed in the slot due to his size? Reed made his money as an outside player. He was good as an outside player with the Seahawks. I just did a review of him a couple of days ago, which will be out in a couple of weeks or whatever. I think I'm releasing 3, 2 in the next 3 weeks before the first preseason game. So again, stay tuned for the reviews. But Reed's an outside guy. Just because you're small doesn't mean you're an inside guy. He has the physicality. He has the technique to play on the outside. And he made his bread and butter was zone drops and getting his ass to the sideline, shuffling, creating distance, exploding on route concepts, things like that. You're not going to be able to do that as much in the slot. It's more of like a man game. Everything happens quicker. So he's never really played there. I think he played there a little bit with San Fran, but he made his money outside. They're not going to just put him outside or inside. Maybe some looks. Maybe there's a matchup where they go man heavy and there's a guy in the slot who is who's a little bit, well, not even smaller. Usually guys in the slot are a little bit smaller, but let's just say there's a good matchup for him in the slot. Okay. They bring in Hall. He plays a bigger guy. Like let's just say it's the Bills and it's Gabe Davis versus Bryce Hall. It's Sauce versus, Diggs. And then it's Hall versus, what's his name? Hall versus Davis, and then Reed versus Crowder. I can see something like that, but it's not going to happen often. He's going to be outside. That's where he made his money. Feels nice having a competent GM. Yeah, and again, a lot like it. No matter how it works out with Joe Douglas, Zach works out, the coaches work out, whatever. Joe Douglas is safe to me. I agree with most, if not all, of his moves. There's a thing or two, not bringing in a tight end his first year, a backup quarterback, or like if they don't go into the season with a linebacker or a backup tackle, like there's things I disagree with and moves I would have made a little bit differently. But I could see what he was thinking with every single move that he made. And I agree with most of them, and a lot of his player evaluation I agree with as well. So I have a lot of faith in Joe Douglas going forward. I can't see him burning out. Like to me personally, right now, sign the dotted line or not, if Zach Wilson doesn't work out and he has to go through another quarterback, I don't think he's not leaving. To me, what has he done that's that bad? A lot of his stuff is really good. The way he negotiates the trade market, the way he negotiates the draft. Some of his free agent signings haven't worked out, and he was frugal in free agency last year, like people said, but they spent like the third most guaranteed money. Unfortunately, when you have Vinny Curry and Marcus Joyner, Carl Lawson, all these guys go down, your free agent class is not going to look good, but can you always predict injuries? Not always. Now, if you have a guy like Carl Lawson who gets injured, okay, because he's had some prior injuries in the past, or prior injuries in the past. Obviously, they're in the past if they're prior, but past injuries, then okay, you can blame him. But there's some guys who they didn't really have injury histories and they got injured for him, so it's unfortunate. The Jets value explosive playmakers. I'd keep Mims just as a deep threat like Deshaun Jackson, Mike. Yeah, so Jake, they're very different. Deshaun Jackson and Mike Wallace were absolute burners. Mims he's physical. He has solid vertical speed. He's more listen, and this is in no way a comparison because he's a long way to go, but he's more like AJ Green, lanky guy who's fast, but not overly fast. Deshaun Jackson is one of the fastest players to ever play in the NFL. Mike Wallace is really fast, so he's not. I wouldn't say he's them light with more height because no. Robbie Anderson's more like Deshaun Jackson light with more height. A poor man's Deshaun Jackson. Steven Engle's going in the shower. I'll be back. I appreciate you letting me know, Steven Engle. I am way behind the chats. You guys are throwing out the chats really quickly. I appreciate that. What's up with Garrett Wilson? You think he's still having a hard time with the playbook? Based on the interviews I've heard, and I think the Pivot podcast is really good if you listen to that, he seems like a kid. He doesn't go out. He's all about football all the time. He legitimately seems like the type of kid who's going to just grind it and grind it and grind it and grind it until he knows it. It's a hard playbook to learn for rookies, but he'll adjust. Now, is he going to start off immediately, like really, really fast? Probably not. I think it's a hard system to do that. Could he? Sure. If they're running him on screens and stuff like that, and you take advantage of his just physical ability on a screen or on a jump ball, I think that's more where he's going to be successful. But you'll see him struggle rep to rep, like getting off a press or maybe running the wrong route. Like it's going to happen. And especially I think he has to learn how to get off a press. So I think initially he's going to be more of a slot guy. But again, in the Jets offense, the slot position is kind of skewed because they run so many stacks and bunch sets. You don't really see a lot of press coverage. So slot Z, they're really more interchangeable in the Jets offense. So again, there's not a true just XZ, all that. So, I don't know. Okay. It's Simon. I'm just going to call you Simon. I always say I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it, Simon. It's just the depth at linebacker that gets me. It's the depth at linebacker. It's a lack of a true run stuffing D tackle. Which again, it's in the system. It's not Foley Fatukasi. It's not Mike Pennell. It's not Chris Jenkins. It's not Snacks Harrison. It's not that 3-4 guy that we typically think of as Jets fans because we've been in the 3-4 for so long. It's the guys who are 305, 310. They just have an acumen for stuffing the run and a penetrating front. We have guys who are used to 3-4 systems. So you'd assume that okay, second year in a 4-3, they're just going to improve individually, but the depth there can scare you a little bit as well. So yeah, D tackle linebacker. To be honest, let's say we are really shooting for the playoffs, the deep playoff run next year. Right now, it's obviously tackle. That's non-negotiable. Let's say tackle's worked out. I think it will be. You're talking about linebacker, D tackle, free or safety as our biggest needs, which they can address next year. So Mosley def lost a step. He could still be an average starting middle linebacker. I think he's better than average. I think when he signed with the Jets, we were hoping he's going to be in that top 5 range. I think last year he was slightly more than slightly above average. Like he was, instead of being in, again, that top 5, he was in that. And again, I really have to go through the list, but he's more in that 8 to 12 range. I think that's where he is now. Maybe towards the back half of that 8 to 12, but I think he could be the 10th, 11th best middle linebacker in the league. So I would say a little bit above average, DMARS. Let's see. Mosley sucks for us, yet doesn't miss reads nor tackles. Any Jets fan in their right mind that bust on Mosley? I'm assuming you're saying that he's really good. Yeah, no, he's made a few mistakes. He's not what he was with the Ravens or what he was with the Jets week 1 in 2019, but he was still good last year. He's still definitely good. So at the next Jets X Factor board meeting, Joe will have to make these formal petition for these. I don't know what that. I forget what I was talking about half an hour ago. That's my fault. I got to just get up in the chat and stay in the chat. But the problem is I hit on your guys' topics a little bit too much. Maybe Conklin right tackle makes how much? I think his last year with the Browns, he made like a really low amount. Like he might only be making $8-9 million, $10 million. Again, the fact that Riley Reef is making more money than him is ridiculous. So, would you want to report from? Oh, Daniel Faust. One, I appreciate the super chat, but let's see. Would you want a reporter to pass to one Jets drive? A reporter pass? But what we have, I don't know if it's just Robbie, but we have one. Like Robbie can ask questions. He can go into the meetings and all that stuff. When I was with Jet Nation and TOJ, like I got to go to the private practices. So like, oh, the fans weren't allowed. And I felt like, oh, cool. I'm going into a private practice and all that stuff. It was cool. Like, it's cool to watch the players and have them running up next, like close to you and being able to see them in real life and seeing how big they are and all that stuff. At the end of the day, when you're standing on the sideline, you're not gaining a lot. You don't know what they're targeting. You don't have the overhead film, which is much more important. Again, when you're standing 30 yards away from a bunch of guys who are 310 pounds and moving as quick as they do, it's really hard to process. You see some things, but it's not very valuable to me. It's the games, and yes, it's fun, but doing that to go then sit in 2 hours of traffic, it's just not my thing. I'll go to all the games. So, fan protection was drastically better at left. That's why I put him there. Yeah. Makai is still young enough to mold. Fant was better at left tackle. They signed him to be that left tackle initially. That's where he had his, for lack of a better term, his glow up with the Seahawks. And again, I think it's a reliability thing. I think they think he's maybe while doesn't have the higher ceiling than Becton, I think they feel more comfortable with his floor. So they want that comfortability at left tackle. That's what I think it is. And if Becton's a monster right tackle, sweet. Let's give him $20 million in 2 years. Like let him ball out there. He could. So, Joe, one question for you. Jets playoff from Pirlo. Joe, one question for you. Jets playoff percent chance after 1 day of training camp is at what percent? Got to head out, but I'll listen tomorrow. Their playoff chances after one practice, 25%, I would say. And I don't want to be like negative, but it's just when you look at the landscape, and anything can happen. A quarterback can go down, a star DN can go down, a star receiver can go down, Tyreek can go down. Tyreek, with all the stuff on Twitter, he might pull Antonio Brown and leave in the middle of the game when he realizes Tua can't hit him, because now he's apparently the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. I would say 25%. Yeah, I think that's fair, to be completely honest. So let's see. What about the competition at free safety, Jason Pinnock? I kind of hit on this decent amount. I think fans overrate what he did in his rookie year and what those plays and those snaps meant against the Jaguars. But with that being said, I think he has the physicality to do so. Now, is it easy transitioning from corner to safety, any position to any position? No. Do I think they maybe give him, let's say Will Parks is a slightly better player in training camp, but okay, Pinnock has the age on him and has a contract on him. Okay, I could see them giving him that spot and trying to earn it through playing time this year, or when he hits the field, like, okay, let's see if he's efficient. Do I have a ton of faith in him being a starting free safety or even a backup free safety at this point? I would say no. If it happens, great. I don't know. So 16 is way too many teams. It is. 16 is a lot, but I let another guy in by accident. It was 17 and I felt bad, so I made it 18. 16 is a lot, but it's manageable. The problem is when you have guys who stack up like 3 quarterbacks on a team. So kicking battle. I said Zerline. Kyle said, what's his name? Pinheiro last week. I'm 50-50. I don't really know. But both kickers did go 4 for 4 today, which is good, obviously. 5-4 at the bye, and we go into the playoffs. I'm pretty comfortable. Yeah, like if you're talking about those first 9 games, then you're looking at teams like, the Jaguars, the Bears, the Lions, who could be better. But the Pats again, the Dolphins, who you could beat, instead of teams like, the Broncos, the Packers, the Ravens. They don't need to win another. That's 9 games, so you have another 8 games left after that, right? Out of those 8, you're assuming you have to win probably 5. Yeah, it could happen. Could the Jets? I think you need 10 wins to get into the AFC this year. So could you finish that at 5-3 after the bye? Right, 5-3, 10-7. Yeah. If they can go 5-4 in the beginning, there's no doubt about it. They could go in to the second half and go 5-3. Much easier schedule. Young team, could they pull it off? Why not? Let's be positive. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is when I talk to you guys. My freaking nose gets ridiculously itchy. The problem is I'm also allergic to dogs, and I have a dog, so it kind of destroys me sometimes. But I just can't be the asshole and not allow my wife to have a dog, because dogs are awesome. I'm just the idiot with a bad trait from my parents that I'm allergic to them. So nonetheless, who do you think are some of the most underrated players on the team? Let's think. Because I would say, and I'm sure I've seen you in here plenty, Joe. I know you're a supporter. I tend to be more negative on players. Fant, once he was signed, definitely underrated. But now he's not. I would say Conklin is underrated. Again, staying positive. I'm not going to say overrated players. I think Uzomah's a little bit overrated, but let's say underrated. Conklin, Michael Carter might be underrated by fans now. Again, I'm hearing a lot of fans think it's going to be like 75% to Brees and 25% to Carter. Carter's getting a little bit disrespected. So Conklin, Carter, nobody on the offensive line. Defensive line, I think Jacob Martin's probably being a little bit underrated by fans right now. Vinny Curry's being a little bit underrated by fans right now. Corner, maybe Michael Carter II. Like those are I would say those are like what I just named, like 4 to 6 guys. Like those are the top names that come to me quickly. Or I would be pretty comfortable. Those are my 4 to 6. Let's go. I'm gonna keep going to some of the topics. I'm gonna get through some of these just because I want to get it off my screen. Barrios came into camp with blonde hair. I don't know if you guys care. Do we accept it? I don't know. I know a lot of people used to do it in high school, and my dad was obviously, he's really strict when I was a kid, and I remember like kind of like a floater out there, like, oh, all my friends are going blonde, like all the seniors are going blonde, like could I do it? And he's like, no way. And then my girlfriend Tom was like, no way, I believe. So I never did it. But it's a very high school thing. But who cares if he's good? Who cares? I don't give a shit if he has blonde hair. Another thing that came out this week: Kyler Murray, his contract, which was massive. It's the second largest money per year for a quarterback. Obviously, a lot of it being guaranteed. The fact that he has, and I'm not sure exactly how it reads, but basically a 4-hour stipulation in his contract. Sorry, it's a stipulation in his contract where he has to watch at least 4 hours of independent film, or he has to watch 4 hours of independent film per week. The fact that he is making the money he does, and he plays quarterback in the NFL, and he doesn't do that already, or at least he maybe doesn't do that enough to convince, or he does it or does not do it enough to have it written out in a contract that he has to sign, that he has to watch it. How do they track it? Is it an iPad and they have to see the websites he goes to, and if he plays, or if he's watching film, can they see the screen the entire time? Do they check in on him? What if he doesn't watch the film? It's crazy. But also with that, the fact that he's as good as he is, which I think he might be a little bit overrated, but he's at least a top half of the league quarterback, probably top 10-ish, 12. The fact that he's not watching a lot of film. What if he did watch film? Like, how much better could you be? I cannot believe that. And like, not to be whatever, but like Saturday, I watched 10 hours in a row of film, and there were some breaks in there, sure, to eat, but I had to crunch it because there's obviously not a lot of time left until preseason. 10 hours. I feel 2 weeks. I'm making what I'm not going to give away what I make at X Factor, but I could tell you it's a lot less than Kyler Murray. I cannot believe that's in the contract. I would be furious as a fan. Whatever that is behind the scenes, and they feel comfortable signing him to that contract. Now they're kind of you're stuck between a shit place and a shittier place, because he's a really talented quarterback, and they don't grow on trees, and he's going to want a contract. Like that is a crazy situation, though. I cannot believe that. Let's see. The first season I can remember as a Jets fan was when we went 1-15. Yeah, I wasn't alive yet. Let's see. Oh, DJ Reed's probably a guy who's underrated too. I bet DJ Reed earns himself a lot of new Jets fans. I like him a lot. I like his mindset a lot. And talking about some of the interviews, which I could bring up, Reed talked about how he's impressed with Sauce and his mindset and his eagerness to learn, which we've obviously been talking about a lot and hearing a lot about people who know Sauce really well. So that's a really positive compliment for Sauce. And he goes on to basically say that he isn't bullshitting the media. Like, he's not just hyping up a teammate to hype up a teammate. He says that it's legit. Like, he's not just saying that. So usually guys, like, you'll hear them say, like, oh yeah, he's really good, he's working hard at the playbook. But when you have DJ Reed who comes out and like overemphasizes it, and then after he overemphasizes it, he says, like, no, listen, like, I'm not bullshitting you guys. Like, this is real. Like, he wants to be great. It's obviously a very good thing, because that's all we hear about Reed from Sauce. And then he also, Reed, again, just talking about his mindset. If you watch the interview, he said he texted his partner and let her know he was let her know with training camp starting that, quote, I love you. I love our future daughter, but you know what time it is. It's about to be all about football. Like, he's about to lock into another zone, which he seems like that dude. Like, he absolutely loves it. He's on it for 9 out of 12 months. Uber physical, uber dedicated. So I love the dude's mindset. I really, really do. So that's another guy who's probably underrated by fans a little bit. But yeah, Reed should have already earned himself some new Jets fans, just the way he speaks. And promote this show coming out in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, whatever it is. Watch the Reed review. You're going to be happy with him. He has some things to work on. He in terms of his press and playing in no man's land, and he jumps backwards a little bit too much, but we can work on that. So let's see. Some other interviews actually we'll go through. Conk, he said that he built better relationships here in a few months than he did a few years in Minnesota. And he mentioned that it speaks to what they're building in this building in New York. So again, it's another thing where in the past you'd eat up plenty of quotes, but hearing stuff like that and people overemphasizing like how tight these guys are, it's a really good sign. Again, it doesn't mean everything. Could they come out and suck still? Could they still come out and have injuries and battle a rough start to the year, and then that chemistry goes down the drain? Sure, it could happen. But this is the most positive offseason we've heard about in terms of like just guys getting along, and Zach Wilson going to hang out with the receivers and the tight ends and going to tight end U and meeting up with this guy and that guy, and AVT going to hang out with Laken Tomlinson and learn from him. Like, it seems really, really like a tight roster. And I've been pretty vocal in saying I think that's a little bit underrated by fans. Like, bringing in guys like who have been to the Super Bowl, guys who were seemingly good guys like Whitehead and like Reed, and like Tomlinson and like Uzama. Like, I think that does more for the locker room and helps the roster like flip over from a bunch of people who are expecting losing and negativity because they've been here for a few years, and like flipping it over to positivity and riding that wave of momentum. It can happen with just a couple of guys, and I think that's what the Jets focused on this in free agency, especially, was guys who have championship caliber because they've been there, and guys who are great locker room guys. All of them were applauded for that. You know, Tomlinson came here immediately. People were gravitating towards him. There were stories about how good of a leader he was, and how big of a leader he was in the room already. Same thing with plenty of the draft picks. Same things with plenty, the guys like DJ Reed. Uzama is obviously probably seems like the nicest and best teammate you could possibly have in the entire world. Obviously, he comes out with that Zach Wilson t-shirt and like a hat that says "for the boys" or whatever. Like, he just seems like the ultimate like bro, and good, like good locker room, good teammate type guy. So I think they value that, the Jets. I really do. You obviously hear a lot about it, like in the Take Flight 2022 or Flight 2022. You hear them emphasize how much character meant to them. And I think you're seeing the kind of the fruits of that right now with how the guys are talking. Again, for Conk to come out and say, he doesn't have to say that, but to say he's, again, building better relationships here in a few months than he did in years in Minnesota, is something that's good to hear. CJ Mosley also came out and said that the playoffs are the expectation, which people are, of course, going to get on for that. Oh, it shouldn't be the expectation. I expect 7 wins, 8 wins. As a player in the NFL, listen, if we're saying 8, 9 wins, why shouldn't they be thinking 12 or 13? Like, things can change that quickly. Again, if I was to sit on here last year and tell you, okay, the Bengals won 3 games in 2020 and now they're going to go to the Super Bowl next year, you think I'm crazy. So should the playoffs be the expectation? Sure. You adjust your expectations as you go through the year and injuries come and whatever bumps you hit. But to start the year, if they're not expecting to win obviously every single game is a little bit unrealistic, but to win most of their games, why are you playing in the NFL? Like, they're the ultimate competitors. So people will give them crap for that, but it's obviously they should be expecting playoffs, the whole team. If they're not, there's a problem with their mindset. So also wrote down that AVT mentioned or he brought up that he met with Laken Tomlinson, which, again, not really happening in the past for the Jets, guys meeting up and you're hearing all this stuff, all this positivity. And obviously he took a lot from Tomlinson, and Tomlinson took some from him. They train in, I believe it's California. So obviously good to hear that as well. Other than that, other news from the training camp, I'll get to that really quickly and I'll go through the rest of the chat. But training camp practice today, Mims and pressing. Obviously we talked about that already. The kickers, I believe, both went 4 for 4. I think Connor Hughes tweeted that the offense having its strongest day of the offseason. Again, positivity. Like, are we going to lose our shit that they're having the strongest day and the best offense in the league? Like, no, we can't do that. But it's also a lot better than hearing that they had a bad practice to start. It's better than hearing that Jet starters are getting shut out by the defense. Like, remember that a couple of years ago? Like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like multiple days in a row where it was like the offense was getting their ass beat by not even just the defense, but the backup defense. And the offense was supposed to be better than the defense. Like, what is going on here? Like, this is not good. So that's a positive. Wilson looked good. He got a thumbs up from a lot of the media, which again is a positive. And Conklin, I think, got some rave reviews. I think he had a drop though, but people said he looked good. And I think Dennis Wozniak put he does that little emoji thing where like guys' names and like a thumbs up, whatever. I think he threw a thumbs up or something like that for Jacob Martin, which is good. I think it's a camera actually, because I remember seeing flash, and he's gonna flash more than some other defensive linemen, I would say, in the offseason. So watch that. And the reason for that being is it's really hard to notice stuff. But when you notice a guy you're going to notice explosion out of anything, a guy getting into the backfield really, really quickly. Martin, if anything, is explosive and bendy, so he's going to flash some. You're going to see him popping up in the backfield. Other than that, let's go back into the chat, see what you guys are saying. I'm already still very, very far behind, and I still want to get to a couple of topics. Actually, I'm going to do this now. Let me just make sure. Hold on, you guys have to give me 2 seconds. This is great. Podcasting or whatever, but I'm doing this solo. So I want to make sure. of something on my phone. Okay. So from 722, hopefully some of you guys are interested. I know some of you guys are interested. I have 3 or 4 spots available in our JetX Fantasy League. We have a Discord. We talk shit the entire year. We do a live draft where we all meet up and we draft. No keepers, anything like that. It's only $25, so it's more for talking shit. We have a couple of spots available, 3 or 4. So what you have to do, if you are interested, starting from right now, again, if you're in the league last year, you could do it. You can come back. Again, it's just the first come, first serve. Email me at Joe.Blewett, which is BLEWETT at Jets with an S, xfactor.com. Email me that you're interested and email me, or if you could, like, take a picture of a membership. It's only for members. So you like log into your account and show that you're a member. You could get a free subscription for a month and then still log in and see if you'd like it and do the fantasy league, whatever it is. But you need to have subscription and email me. So 3 or 4 spots. The first couple people to do it since it was 722. I started to talk about that. You'll be in again, $25. It's a good time. It's more of like a throwaway league, but why not have another throwaway league where you can talk some shit to me, you know? So it's fun to play with you guys. That's fucked up. It's fun to play fantasy football with you guys. All right. Let's see. Yeah, how do you change your name? I can't figure it out. Yeah, help out D Mars because I don't know. I don't. You know, I'm assuming you just click on profile and there's some type of settings edit or something like that. Because I changed mine and I am technically with all the technical stuff, I'm an idiot. I can't do it. So if I could do it, D Mars, you could do it. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. We play 5 top 10 QBs this season. Josh Allen plays 2 other QBs in the middle of the pack. Hold on, I gotta read this though. Tell me what you think we play 5 top 10 QBs this season, and Josh Allen plays 2. All other QBs are middle of the pack or worse. I like our chances if we are just competent. You're saying we're playing a lot of middle of the pack quarterbacks, and like there are plenty. You know, you have the Trubisky's and the Brissetts. The thing with that is Brissett is a good backup. Obviously, he's not a good starter, but the Browns roster is stacked. Like Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett and JOK and all the Denzel Ward and all these players, and they have Nick Chubb, a good run blocking offensive line. It's not going to be an easy game for the Jets. That's going to be a dogfight, no pun intended. So Brissett, listen, we've gotten our asses kicked by Mitch Trubisky. We've gotten our asses kicked by Matt Barkley, or maybe it was Mitch Trubisky, Matt Barkley in the past. Like so Josh McCown almost beat us. Johnny Manziel almost beat us on the opening day. So DJ Reed picked off Zach today. Yeah, I saw a diving interception. Twisted, Joe, your take on the Jets stopping the run this year. Do we need any better linebackers? Yeah, so that's what I just said. Twisted, I hit on it before, so I'll hit on it quickly. Linebackers are going to help that run defense a lot because of the quick penetration from the defensive line. The linebackers are really asked to read and exchange and fill gaps and make up for the mistakes or just the aggression of the defensive line. So I would like for them to add more bodies there. Now, you know, how good are the bodies out there? You know, I think Joe Sherbert's out there. Maybe he's not. I forget. Quan's out there. Quan specifically, is he great at stopping the run? No. So we may struggle there. You know, it is what it is. After 11 long, stupid, ridiculous years, the Jets are finally fighting back for the playoffs. So it doesn't really matter about our schedule. Okay, let's see. Baseball stinks. It is nowhere close to basketball. That is for sure. Our schedule isn't all that. The reason the schedule is hard to me is the fact that you struggle in your run defense and you're playing run-heavy teams to start off the season. That's the hardest part. And then past the teams who can run the ball really well, you have the Broncos and the Packers, who are both, you know, favorites to make the playoffs in their respective conferences. So it's hard because you're a young team and you play a lot of hard teams to start. I'd rather play the hard teams at the end of the season, you know, or break it up a little bit, but it's not necessarily easy. But obviously injuries happen. You never know, you know. So all the Joe Klecko guys out there obviously lit it up in the early 80s. So I wasn't really able to watch him. To be honest though, I looked up his stats. I remember a while ago, and I thought he had more consecutive seasons of dominating. I don't know if like injuries would ever happen, but it was a lot of like 7, 8, 9 sack seasons, which are, you know, okay. And then he had a 20.5 sack season. So is it a thing of his consistency where he wasn't dominating for a while? I don't know, but yeah, you know, obviously he's a Jet. I hope he gets in, but I thought he was, to be fair, like at least statistically a little bit better than he was. I remember a while ago when I watched. So, Keep moving on. In Klecko with the most sacks in the season. I've heard that before too. One of the guys who are one of the guys that would have to inform D-Mars on that. I'm not the most up to date on my Klecko stuff. Yoshi, what's up? See, yeah, Klecko he had like 20 and a half, right? And 80 was it? It was sometime between 80 and like 83. He had 20 and a half, right? I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the time. Early 80s Jets. God don't. Blitz BK, they asked Mims to work on his catch point, and it seems like he did. I hope he keeps it up. Yeah, like if anything, just again throw the ball up to him. Like he is a freak in terms of going to get the ball, his catch radius, how strong his hands are, how he boxes guys out. Like that's what he did at Baylor, and that's why it annoyed the shit out of me when people said, "Oh, well, he can't run routes or he can't get yak." One, he wasn't asked to run routes, so how do you know he can't run routes? He did what he was asked to do, and he did it relatively well. He wasn't a stud route runner. But then people brought up his yak, and then you look at he was like he had like the first or second most contested catches at the college level, and you look at what he ran a lot of fades. So how do you expect the guy to get yak when he's running a fade? It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, verticals, yeah, maybe more yak, but fades is like the least conducive route you could possibly run to getting yak. So like you can't put 2 and 2 together with that. People saying he was a bad yak guy immediately is like, nah. Again, I have some things like non-negotiables. You lose me. I just automatically disrespect you. I can't help it. Mims not being able to get a yak thing is not there. Mike, we have to start a blackout shade fund for Joe. The fund it assisted me in getting I got a mouse. I got a little pad. I'm trying to download like systems that I could again like draw on the screen and draw circles and arrows and coverages and whatever else. Unfortunately, Apple and just like Mac in general is a pain in the ass with everything. So I can only like do it from the mouse pad or from the mouse and draw. I want to be able to get a computer eventually where I could literally take a pen and just draw and erase or whatever. So that's the next big thing. But blackout shade fund, I can afford it. But maybe we need to do it right there, or I just need to move the spots, or just buy a better shade. I don't know, but let's see. Our front D line should be able to get to the quarterback and stop the run with this rotation style. Is a good defensive scheme. And now he doesn't have the horses necessarily in terms of the run stuffers. Like they were really bad last year for a reason. It was both the scheme, familiarizing themselves with the scheme, learning the scheme, and just the fact that they don't really have a lot. Like Rankins is not the best run stuffer inside. JFM is light at D tackle. He's not the best run stuffer inside. Solomon Thomas is very hit or miss there. Q is better than he was last year, but he wasn't good. He wasn't even a good run stuffer last year. Jonathan Marshall, Nathan Shepard. Shepard is very hot and cold at the best, and Jonathan Marshall got destroyed on runs inside at college. Like that's what he struggled with the run game, getting moved and not being able to hold the spot and things like that. Now, again, them adjusting to the scheme hopefully gets better, but still. Y'all go watch CJ Uzama on Bustin' with the Boys podcast. He's an awesome dude. Who hosts that? I never heard of that. Bustin' with the Boys. I've recently subscribed to the Pivot podcast though. I like, if I see guys I like, I'll watch them. There's which is only a few. I think I watched Garrett Wilson, Icky Johnson. There's somebody else I want to watch. There's one other guy I watched. I forget who it was though. But they're pretty good. They ask really good questions on that. So. Connor Hughes called out Manish Mehta multiple times in Green Bean's vid without saying his name. Yeah, that's obviously, I'm not going to say necessarily good, but the fact, and I can't confirm it because I wasn't there, but like didn't he corner Joe Douglas's kid or something like that at a baseball game, or like something really weird, or in an elevator or something to that effect. Very odd. Manish was a douche. He did write an article about Michael Mania though, so that is good. But so I like him because he promoted Nania. How much time? Yeah, Jeff Smith, when he's come in the last couple of years, I think both times it was versus the Broncos. He was disappointing. Jeff Smith is a gadget guy, but we have more in Barrios for that. He's a wasted roster spot. I think the tie goes to Mims. You'd assume that last year too. You'd assume the tie went to Mims versus Tyreek Black, but it didn't. So yes, I would like to think so, D-Mars, but at the same time, it's not how it worked out last year. So I'm just trying to be realistic because I don't want to get my hopes up too much, expecting Mims to get 400 yards and be the number 5 receiver, and then he flames out and gets traded for a 6th-round pick. Like I just don't want to. I want to look at it from both ways. Later, it's all great job, Joe. I appreciate that, beat Santana. See you later. This is why I give, I guess, flowers to people who stand out and cover the Jets. Joe B, Sabo, Ben, Nani, and David all do great things. What to do? Appreciate that, Yoshi. I do. And it's been, again, the off season is long. The fact that we did shows every single week, and I'm not even like a streamer. It was more okay. I'm going to do it once a month. I think I started at once a month, and then it was like going on with Ryan and doing with Kyle. I was like, well, let's just do it every freaking week. Like you guys blow up the chat enough and are supportive enough where I could easily fill an hour or two probably talking to a wall, but having you guys here, it makes it easy. So why not give you guys the content if you're going to support it? So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys being here consistently. Again, sometimes people will drop off and stuff, but there's always a strong, at least 100 of you in here. And it's only the 2nd year of the stream, so we'll keep growing as well. Keep growing. Got to go on to Ryan's stream and steal some of his subscribers. You know, I got to get back on there. Let's see. If these guys get after the quarterback like that, or like I think they are, they're going to have a lot of turnovers with that new secondary. And Robert S., I'd agree with you, and I like the profile picture right there. But with that being said, we have to hope that's the case, and we have to hope that the offense has to throw the ball against the Jets. So I am nervous about a Jets team who goes down early, which obviously you don't want your team to go down early in general. But if the Jets do get down a possession or two early, and teams can just pound the shit out of the rock on them, or if they're not pounding to the rock, the Jets expect them to pound the rock on a certain play and they run play action to get the linebackers to suck up a little bit, throw a layered ball behind the linebacker. It's going to happen. So I think the Jets defense is going to be very hit or miss in terms of, okay, one game they're going to get maybe 3-4 turnovers, which holy shit, can you imagine that? We haven't done that in years. And in some games, they're not going to really do much of anything because teams are going to be running on them. So I think they're going to be up and down. That's their biggest weakness right now is run defense. So again, they play the Browns, best running back duo in the league. The Steelers are always at least solid. Najee Harris is good. You guys know about the Ravens. The Bengals have Joe Mixon, one of the better running backs in the league. They play Aaron Jones. They play, and these are all pretty much paired with good offensive lines. Jamal Williams, or not? Melvin Gordon, and Jamal Williams. Like Javonte Williams. I was thinking Jamal Williams. Let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying before I get into some other topics. I am still very far behind. Okay, I am going to have to skip some of your guys' chats as per usual. I am always 40 minutes behind. You guys consistently make fun of me for it, and I'm fine with that. But with that being said, I try to get to all your chats. It's just sometimes you can't. Like I literally can't. I saw another question in here. I just don't know where hold on. Okay. Somebody asked me something. My thing refreshed and I lost my spot. I'm just trying to figure out where I was back at. Josh Allen really isn't the best thrower of the football. He's a great QB, but he's not top 5 thrower. Are you talking about consistency with accuracy? Maybe not, because like Diggs is one of those guys who can gets up and goes balls. Like he doesn't have like amazing general accuracy. Like he's not Drew Brees in terms of accuracy. But he can also launch a ball. He has better arm talent than anybody in the league. Like Mahomes is up there. But you're talking about just ridiculous arm talent. I think Josh Allen's one. Again, you can argue with Mahomes one, but it's probably Allen to me. So, but if you're talking about consistency from down to down, maybe not. I don't know. Sauce is going to have a pick 6 against the Ravens, and JJ's going to have a. All right. Mark Riz, Joby, are you doing the Jets down in the hangar with all the? So Mark, I'm doing just the tailgate. For me, like it's just a personal thing. I don't want to be in a lounge. I don't want to be having waiters walk around and all that stuff. Like I want to be in the crowd, in the 300 section, maybe 200 section, going nuts with my friends. Like, no offense to anybody here. I want to meet all you guys and I want to hang out with you for 4 or 5 hours. But like during game time, I can't be getting to know somebody. Like, oh, Rudy's watching the game. I'm trying to talk to him. Like I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just not risking that. Like when the game starts, I'm in the game. That's all I want to be in is the game and not talking to people and doing all that stuff. So tailgating, cool. I'm all with it. Hangar, I'm going to sit with my buddies. So I look forward to talking to you for the 4 hours that I'll be in the parking lot, though, just not in the hangar. People lose a lot of respect for me during the game. Let's see. So yeah, true. Keep moving on. Woody's a clown. Yeah, that was sketchy. I can't believe they put that video and nothing happened. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's next year. I'm trying to move through your best or your not your best. I'm not saying your best chats, but stuff that's like a question, not just a comment. This is the consistent joke. No, it's just because it's again, it's either because I work midnights and my eyes are just like I sleep for like 3 hours and then do these streams. It's either just like beat the fact that there's sun, not as much in this one, but it's just all the lights. I don't know. I'm really not even a sunglasses guy. You're gonna see me week 1. I'm not even gonna have sunglasses on. But when I have to stare at a screen for 2 hours, sometimes I gotta wear them. People always link size to an outside corner, yet technique and fluid hips is well that. Yeah, that's more important than size. But like people talk about Jari Alexander and Denzel Ward, those guys are 5'10". So because DJ Reed's 5'9", he's playing the slot. Like there's plenty of guys. If you have the physicality and the want to outside, okay, cool. I'm not saying Michael Carter doesn't have that, but certain guys play the slot early and continue in the slot. And there are guys like Reed who got a chance at outside and continued to play well at the outside and he earned his money. Now I think if Reed was in a man like heavy system, maybe he would be more of an inside guy when he initially started his career because I think his bread and butter and what he made his money on was zone, which zone outside versus inside, it's not the biggest difference in the world versus like, man versus zone's a little bit different with that stuff. I'm not going to get all into that, but man heavy system, maybe he was a slot guy, heavy zone with the Seahawks. Okay. Outside, fine with that. And Salah has had guys who were not necessarily big on the outside, like Jason Verrett when he was with the Niners was good, right? And he's 5'10". Verrett's actually a really good player. He just battled injuries. So I'm fine with his lack of size. Like he doesn't necessarily always need that size to play balls because he anticipates it so well. So my dog's barking at something. Let me hear that. Joby, if instead of the 10th pick on Garrett Wilson, if we had Kyle Hamilton instead and did nothing at wide receiver except try to get Mims healthy with Barrios, Davis, and more, would you make that trade? No, to me personally not. Just because, again, knowing how the draft shaked out, knowing what they have or they don't have now at wide receiver, I'm not happy with a group of just Corey Davis, Barrios, Mims, and Elijah Moore. The reason being is because of Zach Wilson. Now, if they had an established Zach Wilson 6-7 years in, okay, we're talking. But this year I'm surrounding him with as much as I possibly can. So give him that extra weapon on offense where, listen, if we struggle a little bit at free safety, strong safety this year, and we address it next year with whatever free agent signing, I'm much more willing to take that hit. Whereas I'm not willing to take the hit on Zach Wilson because a hit this year could be extrapolated over his career. Like he struggles this year because he doesn't have a receiver. Then he takes sacks, then he gets happy feet. Like we don't want that snowball effect to happen. So let's give him talent. And overall, actually, I wonder if I still have my big board. I wonder where I ranked Hamilton to Wilson. I definitely had a big board. Jets big board. Let's see. Out of the guys I watched, which I watched 19, right? 19. I had Wilson one spot higher than Hamilton for the Jets big board, and for the big board in a vacuum, I had one spot. I had Wilson one spot off Hamilton. So even with that, no. Now with that being said, on a team that let's say, okay, so Wilson was my 12th player and Hamilton was my 13th for the Jets. Now, if they had, again, established quarterback, because the receiver position is better, I'm more comfortable with the group of Barrios, Mims, Moore, Davis than I am with what they have at safety, because really past Whitehead, I'm not confident in anything. So I think that Hamilton would make more of an impact to the team. But again, because of Wilson, you take Garrett Wilson, who I liked a little bit more just as a player than Hamilton coming out based on my rankings. So Virgil Tip, what's good, fellas? Joe, great. Camp day. Yeah, camp started off well. A lot of guys coming off PUP, minus Riley, hearing that Riley Reef signed for, freaking $35 million from the Bears. Other than that, it's a good day. How do you feel about a Jesse Bates trade? I think Jesse Bates he's one of the better safeties in the league, but he hasn't been consistently great. How much is he looking for? I don't know. Like if you're going to say like, okay, second round pick, and you pay him $16 million a year, I really have to sit down and think about it. I don't want to give like a rushed opinion. Even though I talked about it a little bit last week, I'll be willing to do it, but I don't want to go like balls to the wall for this guy. Like I think he's very, very good. But at the same point, I think the Jets actually went after Marcus Williams this year, and they weren't able to hike up their price apparently. So I think Marcus Williams is probably a better player than Jesse Bates. especially at free safety. Again, I would have to watch them both individually and really solidify that opinion, but just generally. So if they weren't willing to do it for Marcus Williams in free agency, why are you now willing to do it for Bates and trade a draft pick? So probably not overall, but it depends on the price and how much I really like him watching him, 60 reps a game for a season, like I would do if they traded for him. So my uncle always used to say he was taking the Browns to the Super Bowl when he just had to take a dump. I'm always like dropping dropping the kids off at the pool, stuff like stupid shit at work because like we have I don't know if it's we have a spot where we get a dead spot when we go into the bathroom area. So we'll tell people like, hey, go to the bathroom, let me know. So we always got to kind of text each other. So we always got to refer to funny ways how we're taking poops. Rich, dude, needed to stream. The other ones are, okay. Listen, they're all good. Listen, I've been on Richie's and Jets Talk and Jets Talk 24/7 and Tyson's and all these guys. They're all great. People have their preferences. That is what it is. But I think Jets YouTube community is legitimately one of the best out there, if not the best out there. Now, am I going to lie and say I spent a ton of time looking for other guys? No, I think we're pretty good. I appreciate you being here at the minimum. Be more. Let's see. I hit this a little bit before. Again, I think it's more floor versus floor thing. I think they're more comfortable with the floor of Fant, whereas with Becton, he's a little bit more volatile in terms of ceiling versus floor. So I just think, again, comfortability. I think with that being said, do I think that the chance that he gets a contract now just upped? Yes, I do. If they're that comfortable to name him the left tackle right away, I think you're probably pretty confident that he's going to be here in the future, and you don't want to just keep moving around left tackles. So, how about Salah saying exactly? And I got to listen to the interviews that happened today. I didn't get a chance to. I had to go to some of these walkouts when we retired. But Salah saying exactly what I said in the press conference today. Made a decision based on the best combination for the team. I want to listen to exactly what he said. But I agree with you, Rich, that in a perfect world, it doesn't really matter. Like I guess in a perfect world, yeah, Becton's the left tackle. But at the same time, if he's a great right tackle, then who gives a shit, And especially like you've said, like I've said in the past, Fant is more comfortable at left tackle than right tackle. And that's where he signed. So I think the best combination, like I said last week, and I agree with you, is Fant left tackle, Becton right tackle. But we'll see. I think at this point you need to sign Fant to a contract. So, I don't have any social media. But, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what you guys are there. If Fant plays well, good trade bait can move Becton back to right tackle, and then who plays tackle? Like why we need to get rid of good players? Fant is a leader in the locker room, a guy who, he's 30 years old, but he has barely any miles on the tire. He's only been a full-time starter for 2 years now, or 3 years now. So he's 30, but a young 30. And we don't trade him to get who? What tackle? Like if we have a good tackle pair, don't get rid of them. Let's just keep good players. Obviously, Becton is a great left tackle, but do you think it's ridiculous to think Becton will be a better right tackle than left tackle? I don't think that's crazy at all. Drippy Douglas, there's no reason to say that he can't be a good right tackle. He played it at Louisville, so it's not like he's unfamiliar with his position. He didn't play it well. Rich, you had a bad experience, buddy. What happened? It's so refreshing going back and forth with someone who has honest takes and doesn't constantly do the whole sunshine on a rainbow. Yeah. The Mims stuff, I'm sure over the next couple of weeks, and be like, okay, it's number one wide receiver. Where I'm still comfortable saying, okay, give me 300 yards, and I'm cool with it. But at the end of the day, people like to be positive, and we haven't had a lot to be positive about. So when there is some inkling of positivity, it's going to get just extrapolated or multiplied because we've been starving for positivity, right? So. What else are you guys saying? I like your Drippy Douglas question. What are your thoughts of the drop-off improvement, same play for Becton going to right tackle? It's so like the problem is with like the film stuff is not the problem, but I literally watch thousands of plays a year. So I watched Becton play right tackle probably like, let's just give a rough guesstimate, 5,000 plays ago. Do I remember exactly? No. Do I remember not necessarily disliking his film at right tackle and still being confident and think he played well at right tackle? Yes. Like I don't remember off the top of my head thinking, oh, he's a bad right tackle. He's a lot worse than he was at left tackle. So again, I think it's a comfortability at the floor thing with Fant as a left tackle. So play him at right tackle, great. Like if he's dominant, it's the slightest drop off the difference in importance to me. It's still very, very important for right tackle. There's plenty of good rushers off that side, plenty. And yeah, ideally again left tackle, blind side, but at the end of the day, pressure is pressure. It kind of doesn't you don't see pressure stats. No, pressure off the right side versus left side. Obviously, off the left side of the offense is the more important one, but pressure's pressure. Tony Lee, appreciate the super chat. If you could add Jesse Bates or Raquan Smith to the defense, who do you go with, and what are you willing to give up? Both holding out right now. So again, Tony, like it's Roquan. I would have to study up on a lot more because I know he had a first couple of good years and he dropped off a little bit last year. There were some injuries or something, right? Like Roquan didn't. It's not just a continuous path up where Bates was kind of like low high, low high, low high. Like, and I'm not low high, but like medium high, medium high, medium high. I should say that. If I could trade for either one, just based on I think that Roquan would both be a lesser price from both monetary and a draft pick value, I would be willing to go with him more. Where I think that's more like a mid-level thing. Maybe not the mid-level, probably high mid-level. And it's a bigger need for the team. I'll be willing. Probably again off the top of my head, more willing to do Roquan, but I really have to look into it more because I can't. Did Roquan miss 8 games last year? Like I forget. Something happened where it wasn't as positive. I don't want to just blurt out something I don't really know about. So, Murray superrated. Yeah, I think I was being generous, to be completely honest. If you watch my review of the Cardinals, did we play them 2 years ago? I kind of shit on Murray in that review where I said he was overrated. I think he's overrated by fans. I think Ryan Tannehill's overrated by fans. There's a couple of guys, I'm trying to think of anybody else in the top 10 who's really, and probably those two of like the top guys of fans. Tannehill was being talked about like in the top 10 a couple of years ago, or top 5 a couple of years ago when he had that big year at Tennessee after leaving the Dolphins. I'm like, dude, not from what I saw. Maybe everything changed up, but I can't see that. But now he's talked about more where he deserves at like that 14th, 15th, 16th spot. So let's see. Reed wanted to play with Salah again after getting cut by him. Says a lot about his character, always wanting to get better. But wasn't it something, sneakers and boots, and again, just correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it something with like they try to waive him and he was like injured or something like that, and they were going to try to sneak him back onto the team and he got signed? So it wasn't just like a straight cut. They were trying to sneak him back onto the team. It was something to that effect. So, and again, it's not always Salah's decision. Like he was the DC. It's the GM's job at the end of the day to make those cuts. So, and they had some talent on the roster, so you can't take that stuff personally. Bryce Huff is underrated. Yeah, that's probably true. And he battled some injuries last year, and played a heavy rotation, so we didn't see him as much as we wanted to. But yeah, people kind of pass over Huff like he doesn't exist when he had a really good rookie year for UDFA, and I think he'd be a cog as a rotational rusher type guy. Keep moving down. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I skipped anything. If I did, I'm sorry. Garrett Wilson, I see it in him already. Corners will eventually struggle against him one-on-one. I actually think that I have 3 more reviews coming out. I think it's Clemens. I think it's Clemens, Mitchell, Wilson. I think I actually have another Wilson review coming out. So watch that. Because of his makeup and his physicality, I could see it. He has to work a lot on his releases. People say his route running is very, very strong right now. It's not. He has a capability of being a very good route runner, but it's not there right now. He has plenty of work to do. Press releases. Committing to stop steps, things like that at the top of the route that can make it a little bit rounded. He has to work on just getting over his drive step, like some technical things we talk about. He also really has to work on coming back to diving balls. There's plenty of times in his film where he doesn't have proper technique in terms of attacking a ball low and he drops it. So there's things he has to work on. The main thing for me is getting off of press and his route breaks to make him a very, very good player because he has the yak. He has, and you're going to watch the review, and Kyle mentioned it last week where there's a play, I forget exactly what it was. It was like a fade, and he runs a fade, and he barely tries to jump, and he's like 10 feet in the air, and he's just like levitating. It's like, holy shit, his physical makeup is ridiculous. So, let's see. Brees the Beast Oh, I'm still very far behind. Okay, I'm still far behind. I still have questions to get to. So let me read this question real quick, which is not I'll have to hit on this forever. But question from Adam on Twitter. He says, Joe, what's up with? He says he's been watching the streams after the fact. Blah 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 blah. New job, which I don't necessarily know if he needs me to say to you guys. But he says, quick question, since I assume you're a bit older than I am. Would you have a better sense of some of the mid 2000s guys, Sauce, Namdi, Asima comp? The thing with that is, like, one, I'm a player who hates comps in general. And when I was watching in the mid 2000s for comps, I was watching it as a 12-year-old who really didn't give a shit. So I don't really feel necessarily comfortable with that. But in terms of like him versus Namdi, Namdi was a little bit shorter than him, I believe, and a little bit stockier. And to my knowledge, again, watching it like a 12-year-old, I remember Namdi being more of like the really, really good zone guy who could play some man, where Revis was a really good man guy. So I think Sauce is more of a physical freak than Namdi, and more of a man versus zone guy, where Namdi is a little bit thicker but a zone guy. So that's not a 1-for-1. And again, like when I was watching when I was 12, am I apt to give comparisons? Like now, I can't. But I appreciate the question nonetheless. Free agents to sign. I hit that up for a second. I really don't have to. We went over it before. We have the Schoberts. We have the Quan Alexanders. I'm hoping they sign them. I could see. I don't see them signing a safety. I could see a tackle. I could see a D tackle. Again, if you bring in Riley, if you bring in Ogunjobi, there's some type of interest there. So I think the only non-negotiable for me is a tackle. Dwayne Brown, whoever it may be. I think there's another guy out there. I forget his name off the top of my head, but I'm looking for linebacker, tackle. I could bring up the list, but at this point, with still plenty of questions from you guys, I don't want to do that. That's pretty much it for the notes. Again, Fantasy League, I haven't checked my email yet, but Joe Blewett at Jets X Factor, Jets with an S, X Factor, $25 league, 16 teams. We're looking for 4 people. We want to rotate the bottom. The people who finish the bottom, we're going to rotate them out every year. So any word on Sauce? Oh, and what's up, Joe? What's up, Jets Chaos? I haven't seen you around too much. I don't know if you're making videos and stuff right now, but I am still I forget exactly what the bet was or whatever we talked about, Jeremy, but I know I challenged you to run a beer/hot sauce mile, which I still want to see. After every lap, you got to chug a beer and take a shot of hot sauce or something like that. I think you said you do it eventually. Maybe if the Jets win the Super Bowl, you got to do that. Let's see. What else you guys are saying in here the last 30 minutes before I wrap it up. My schedule is starting to come to a place now. So basically I work 5-2, 5-3. So like I rotate one day every 2 weeks. So like I'll have off like a certain grouping of days for like almost like a whole month, but then I won't have that day off for another like 2-3 months. So I've been working a lot of Wednesday and Thursday nights. I'm coming to the point in my schedule where I'm about to have off Wednesday and Thursday nights. So I'm not going to need to be like, oh, I need to get off at 8 anymore, which is great because it's going to correlate with the season. Fortunately, I'm going to Italy though, the weeks 3 through 5 of the season. So maybe Kyle will stream, but I'm not going to be around. Maybe I'll pop in for a couple of minutes, but I'm going to be in Italy. It's gonna be hard to even watch a game. I'm gonna watch the game. That's good. I remember my wife was like talking about the plans and all this stuff, and she's here, but she was like, "Oh yeah, Sunday we're gonna be here. We're gonna go to this place and this museum and that." I'm like, "Oh, it's Sunday." Like I don't know. I kind of mentioned it later. I was like, "It's Sunday, so we got like 3 hours of that day. But then like, how do I watch in Italy? Like, do I have data? What happens? I don't know. Healthy, what do you rate our O-line? I think Kyle and I agreed they were the 10th overall offensive line, but that was also with some stipulation of like concern around Becton's health. But I would say let's move it up a spot because of positivity today. Let's say the 8th best offensive line with the potential to be top 5. They really could be if Fant can still be developing, Becton developing, ABT developing, Connor McGovern not having GVR and Alex Lewis or whoever else next to him is going to look better. So if we go through the first 8 games at 500, are definitely going to make the playoffs. Yeah, it's more likely than not, I would say. Okay. God, I hate Miami. I hate Miami too. What is a fade? Fade route? You know what a fade route is, Jim Polk? All of a sudden, that's not all of a sudden, Rich. You're about to say something about the offensive line. All of a sudden, I'm starting to feel really good about our offensive line. I wonder why. There's a reason. Becton came out looking like an absolute shredded 370 or whatever it was. How long do you think for them to gel, just get the running game going? So you've had Becton, who's played next to ABT. You've had Fant, who's been in the system for a couple of years now. The only real gelling is is McGovern getting used to ABT on the right side instead of the left side now. And yeah, he's going to have to gel with Laken Tomlinson, but you're going from guys like GVR next to you to Laken Tomlinson. There might be some rough patches, but they'll adjust pretty quickly because they've both been playing the system. So it's not like Laken Tomlinson coming from a power system. He could probably teach the system to McGovern still, because McGovern's second year, Tomlinson's fourth, fifth year in the system. So it's not going to take a very long time. They have a nice mix of veteran and youth with experience in the system. It shouldn't take too long. I hate Miami too, and they could be decent with McDaniels at the helm. They don't deserve him. Yeah, I don't love that they got McDaniel, the coach they got, but at the end of the day, he can bust out too. I thought that okay, it's still kind of bright. Now it just looks bright. I have sunglasses on. Was about to say, who was I thinking about? I forget. Something with Miami. McDaniels, good. I forget. I'm working past it. Chat is popping tonight. Yeah, you guys are excited. I like the liveliness of the chat. West Coast Jets. Joe Blewett at jetsxfactor.com. BLEWETT is the last name. I'm looking for like 3-4 guys. Baltimore can beat us, but they cannot fully control us like in the past. They used to like physical run down your throats. Teams like that used to beat up on the Jets the last couple of years, but this year I think they'll match it with aggression. My problem is the interior of the defensive line, the linebackers. Can they actually stop that run? You could be tough, you could rally to the ball, but if you can't stop the run, you can't stop the run. Jets versus Seahawks. Who wins this? The Jets. And Seahawks are, dude. Like, I'm not just trying to be negative on the Seahawks, but they have Rashad Penny. Their offensive line is not good. Their receivers are great. Okay, cool. Okay, they got Fant. So I like Fant. I like their receivers. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. Who do they have on defense who's a stud? They have Diggs. I think they have a linebacker who's good too. Is it Brooks? They have Adams. Other than that, like, they're not a good. It's the Jets. I want to go to Seattle to watch the Jets beat their ass this year. But unfortunately, it's January 1st. I don't think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to try to pull off Minnesota. So, moving on. I'm at 7:35. I'm still a little bit behind, but I see Hawk, who I like because he says Joe B, because he specifically asked me a question. So I like the way you address it, Hawk, because it makes it really easy to catch in my eyes. If instead of the 10, didn't I already read that? Okay, yeah. So I must have skipped ahead a while ago. I definitely answered that, Hawk. You either missed it or I just had massive deja vu, because I'm 99% sure I answered that. Who gets the first turnover of the season? I'll go with Whitehead stripping Lamar after a 10-yard run week 1. I'm going to say, just because it's always so random, I'm going to say it's LaMarcus Joyner. Lamar Jackson's going to he's going to have a blitz. It's going to be like a sim pressure. It's going to be 4 guys, but they're going to come from random. So it's going to be a sim pressure over the middle. And he's going to overthrow somebody because he got hit at the end by Josh Martin. And it goes into LaMarcus Joyner's hands. I don't know, something random. Joe, I'm bringing some hot sauce for you to try the tailgate. The problem with it, Jeremy, is it just can't be spicy enough or not the quantity enough where I'm going to have to shit my pants. Because if we start mixing up pork roll and subs and I don't know, cheesesteak and hot sauce and wings and all this stuff, and we mix in really hot sauce, I'm gonna have to shit my pants. I'm gonna blame you. So don't do it, because I will try it, especially if I start drinking like, oh, this is really hot. Nobody can. I'm gonna do it, because that's just how it is. I went to Virginia. I still gotta tell you I think it was, what's the really popular? Is it Alexandria, Virginia? My friend used to live there. I went to Alexandria, and there was like, I can't tell you what it's called, but maybe one of you guys knows if you live there. It's like right in the between like Maryland and Virginia, that area, but it's Alexandria. And I think maybe we went to Maryland, but like you go over a bridge and there's almost like a shopping center outside type deal. And there was like a hot sauce place, and they have a challenge there you can go to and do. I do not know what it's called. But I have a shirt, so it should probably say the name on it. So long story short, I will try hot sauce, but don't do it. Don't bring shit that's gonna make me have diarrhea in the third half. I'm getting, in the third half. In the second half, I'm getting old. Garrett will be over Barrios very quickly this season, if not by week 1. Is there a discussion about that in the chat? I even see that. I could see Barrios out repping or out targeting Garrett Wilson early just because of the comfortability. Again, he's a gadget guy where Garrett Wilson's not necessarily going to be just that. Where I think that's Barrios' primary role on offense when he is subbed in, obviously, unless he's playing some slot reps. But Wilson will overtake him. He's going to end the year wide receiver 3 in terms of targets, but I could see him being 2. Definitely not 4, though. He's going to be 3 or 2. Depends on how. Listen, I think, you know what? Another underrated jet, Corey Davis. A lot of people are kind of like talking smack about that guy. I think he's a good number 2. And if a good number 2 becomes a number 3, he's a fantastic fucking number 3. Like, if Wilson develops and you're running out Davis, Wilson, and more, like, yeah, Davis had a down year, but again, his drops were overemphasized because Zach Wilson rarely got the ball out in time and in good spots. So a lot of them went to Davis. When he drops the ball, we're going to be all pissed at Davis because we weren't used to seeing good passes from Wilson land. With that being said, yeah, he had a bad year. He had more drops than he's ever had. But I think he's going to level out to the mean where he's getting a few drops. He doesn't have amazing hands, but they're better than they were last year. And even in his last year with the Titans, when he had his drop problem, you could very, very much tell it was his last 2 weeks, I believe, off the top of my head. It was the Packers. It was the Packers and the Texans, I believe, were his last 2 games of his Titans career. And you could tell in those games he was really trying to push for 1,000 yards. He wasn't looking the ball in anymore. He was trying to run before he had it secured. Dog was going crazy. Yeah, there you go. Well, he finally said something, getting off her ass. Okay, shoot kick my ass. Let's see. Wilson has a much higher ceiling than Sanchez. Yes. Who is questioning that? I hope nobody. Twisted, not close. We're talking about people being. I don't know. People, I see Jets Forever sometimes in here, like you guys mentioning his name, but I don't know if he's ever been in here, so I don't know who that is. Might have been in here. Maybe he told me he hated my guts and then left, and I don't know. We had one of the best teams. Okay, you guys are talking about Sanchez now. I can scroll past this. I'm not trying to get into a conversation. I don't know what I'm talking about because you guys are going on about something. Sanchez. Yeah, no, you and Joby are right, dog. I wanted Garrett. He's my number 1. I really wanted Kyle Hamilton. I like the idea of Kyle Hamilton at first because I heard generational. And again, left tackle versus right tackle, linebacker versus D tackle versus safety versus corner. In the draft, if you're elite at your position and you're one of the few elite players at your position, take them. So like I rather take an elite safety, obviously depending on the team situation, but I'd rather take an elite player at their position than just a good player at a position of more importance. I thought Kyle Hamilton was that. When I watched the film, I was not impressed. I was not as impressed as I thought it would be for a generational type guy. So Wilson was my guy over him. I like the ability that Kyle Hamilton has, but he was much more raw than I thought he was going to be. Much more raw. I went to Notre. See some people talk about Notre Dame. I actually went to Notre. It's getting too dark right now. I think I'm fine. Okay, I actually went to Notre Dame. It was when the Jets played the Colts week 2, and I drove to. It was right after I got off a midnight, or not a midnight shift. I worked 3 to 11 at the hospital doing security, and I got out at like 11:45, whatever it was. Drove immediately to Notre Dame, parked in a ladies' lawn, drank a couple beers, went to Notre Dame, watched Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. Fell asleep at halftime because I did not sleep for how many ever hours and was drinking. So I fell asleep at halftime. I remember that. But it's an awesome stadium. I wish I could enjoy it more. I just literally didn't sleep forever. Keep moving on. Is Mims up play today? Just more evidence of. I don't think it's true. I don't think it's bait because he played well. They didn't say, "Hey, Mims, go play really well so we can trade you." He just played well. So. Colonel Kenny, Joe, how many D linemen make the 53-man roster and who? Right now, I think I have 11 down. Which again, it's a lot, but I rather cut no offense to a Kenny Aboa, Nick Bawden, Trayvon Wesco, Zonovan Knight, whoever player over a Bryce Huff, Vinny Curry player you might have to cut if you weren't going to keep 11 defensive linemen. But I have a list. I just don't want to. I'm gonna miss one if I go off the top of my head. I'll go off the top of my head, unless I can find it really, really quickly. Jets roster, okay, yeah, there it is. So I have 11. So you have B tackles. You have Quentin Williams, JFM, Rankins, Solomon Thomas, Shepard. Jonathan Marshall's one of the harder cuts. Okay, get him on the practice squad. And then D end, I have 6: Lawson, JJ, Clemens, Martin, Curry, Huff. So those are my guys. 2024 Super Bowl. Pray to God. Cool with that. Rich, appreciate that. Reminding everybody to hit the like. Don't really say that a lot, but I appreciate that. I also appreciate that. If I drink coffee, oh, you're one of those guys. I have to. I drink plenty of coffee. I used to. When I started working midnights, I was drinking 2 24 ounces, and then I was like, am I just getting old? Like, am I eating like shit? Like, why am I getting indigestion? And I was like, oh shit, I'm drinking 40 ounces of coffee when my body's not used to being up, and then trying to go to sleep at daytime, it just didn't work. So I cut back. Why is Rankins never talked about? Because he had a really disappointing year. I expected a lot more from Rankins. Struggled a lot in the run game and was really inconsistent as a pass rusher. But there's another guy where it's more of an underrated thing. But if he can get even semi-close to what he was with the Saints, it's a lot better than he was last year. So he's being probably not talked about enough because he's, on the not the lower tier of the roster, but more mid-tier of the roster. He's not young. He's not necessarily exciting. But if he has a bounce back year, it's massive. It's massive for us because he was pretty disappointed last year, or disappointing. But yeah, that is a correct ranking. Dakota, Mims is and would never be the best receiver. So saying that with knowing how his career's turned out so far, sure. But him coming out of Baylor, there was no reason he wasn't a first-round pick for me. So he could have been. His physical capability makes him able to be. But he won't be better than them. Now I would bet my house on that, or someone, a couple thousand on that. He wouldn't be better than those guys. But coming out, could have been. Yeah, we talked about that plenty. Yeah, I'm definitely not one of the YouTubers who's gonna be like, oh well, Mims had food poisoning and then his feelings got hurt because they brought in receivers and that's why he didn't play well. He was kind of sad. It's like, okay, bullshit. Like, you're in the NFL, perform. Like, I get you had food poisoning and COVID and shit. But at a certain point, you can't get 9 catches and 5 penalties as a second-round pick with no touchdowns. Like, let's stop making excuses. And yeah, there are some excuses, and there are things you have to weigh into the conversation. But to make that the excuse, oh, he was sad last year and he was sick. Okay, let's expect a little bit more from our players. I think there's plenty of players who can bounce back from that. So yeah, disappointing. Hopefully he can come back and be that guy. Listen, again, just a fourth receiver getting 400 yards a year, a couple touchdowns. I'll take it right now. It's on the dotted line. Let's see. I am a couple minutes. Joe, see, like, this is the thing too, and that is always my major complaint. One, my shows are too long. It's not edited. Again, if I did more editing, the less film you'd get. So I rather put out the substance instead of all the extra cool looking shit. Maybe eventually, if this is my full-time job, I'll do edits and graphics, and I'll make a 10-minute video. Then I'll also make a 2-hour video I'll do a quick hitter, guys, 3 major strengths, 3 major weaknesses for the guys with short attention spans, and then a longer video. But one of the major things I get is, I talk too fast. I clearly smoke crack, which is fine. A lot of thoughts going through my head. I do talk very, very fast. I recognize that. There was somebody on the stream last week who was like, oh, I'm going to go back to the beginning and watch it at speed and a half. I'm like, good luck. There's no way you can listen to me at speed and a half and understand what I'm saying. But yes, with that being said, I'll never be able to keep it the chat. You need a screener. Nevertheless, you do a hell of a job. I appreciate that, Twisted. But how does a screener help? Like, hey, go to the question at 7:55. There's 10 chats at 7:55 or even more than that. So I don't know. Blewett, you do the Pittman schedule. No, I wish. Again, it's 5-2, 5-3. I don't work 12-hour shifts. I work 8s. So there's like a battle right now. Well, not a battle, but it's like Pittman is 12 hours, all that stuff, every other weekend off. My schedule, though, technically, because it's 5-2, 5-3, I don't work a full-time schedule because obviously full-time schedule is 5 days a week, 2 days off. So we technically work 26 less days than a full-time schedule. So certain people want those 26 days, and certain people rather just have the Pittman where you're off every other weekend. But yeah, people don't know what I'm talking about right now, but you do. I just saw George today, by the way. Yeah, Rich, I see your comment. I don't want to get into stuff about the other channels and all that. You know how it is. I gotta play nice always. Oh, no, and I like those guys. I'm just saying in general. We need Kyle and Robbie to broadcast. Yeah, maybe we'll do Kyle and Nani, and then if I can call in for like 30, 40 minutes, give quick thoughts, I'll do that. Ghost, actually stop, man. LaFleur made Barrios look elite, and you saying he's got to utilize talent. I don't know. I don't know if you're talking to me at all, but I don't know what I said in reference to. One, he did not make Barrios look elite. Like, at what point does Barrios look elite? So I don't know if you're talking to me or whoever you're talking to, but Barrios at no point ever looked elite. Barrios is a solid backup slot receiver and a gadget guy. That's what he is. Who's a really good returner. He's not elite at anything. Italy is 7 hours ahead, so you can watch the one. Jealous beanbag, you son of a bitch. You are so right too. That is great because honestly, that is awesome because I was thinking just in like time, okay, 1 o'clock, I want to be driving, I want to be out in the town looking at shit. 8 o'clock is when you're, 8 o'clock is when you're gearing down. That is much more manageable. I did not think about that. Is it 7 hours? I thought it was 5 hours, but massively, you literally just made my entire like night. I'm not even kidding. That's the best news I gotten all day. Minus maybe Becton being skinny and Mims playing well. That's number 3 though. I appreciate that a lot. I didn't even think about that. It's like Jets fans don't like any reporting on negative stuff. When you're a team who's lost as much as we do the last 2 decades, you have to expect it. But people think with their hearts, not their heads. Every player is great. Every player sucks. Like I don't know. Yeah, I think the problem is people are reactionary. And I think honestly the problem is, and I'm not saying YouTube don't say anything, but there's plenty of fans who I don't necessarily think they know football. And even if they know football, they don't have the time or dedication to really, really watch and know what they're talking about. So yeah, you're gonna get some misinformed opinions out there, whatever. Mims is big. That's about it. Who is Dogs YouTube? You're talking to somebody else. You're not saying. You're literally not saying me but Mims is big, and that's it. Is not true either. Oh, what's going on? I think you have to be in timeout, dog. So you're either talking shit to other people or me, but I don't like you right now. So I'm not sorry. Goodbye. If I made a mistake, I'm still not sorry. Happens. Let's see. Okay, I'm almost to the bottom of the chat. Okay. I'm almost there. Mims is more than just tall. I see that. Mims is not a route runner. He has really good talent. His route running was not good at Baylor, but he was almost like Garrett Wilson, where he had a really good ability to get in and out of routes well with lack of technique, which makes you think, okay, well, if he rounds out that technique, he could be very, very good. Like he has very, very good movement skills to me. Mims had one bad year in his career. Are you just talking about like high school and college? Yes, but obviously you weigh the difference in importance from your year 2 to your, 2 years in the NFL versus college. It's all about what you do in the NFL. So he had one good year, one bad year, and okay, he had good college years, but so did I don't know, Darius Hayward-Bay. Like, so, okay, let's say Darius Hayward-Bay had 4 good years in college, 1 bad year at the NFL. We're going to say, oh, they had 1 bad year in NFL, 4 good years. What's going to happen? I'm going to weigh more towards a year in the NFL. So, yeah, a good year, bad year. That's what it is to me. In his career, the whole thing about in his career doesn't really matter to me because it's all about this level. And it's more the mental stuff that was scary last year. Chris, how do I get in that fantasy league, Blewett? Again, I don't know if it's already filled up or not. It depends on who emailed me first. If you're still in the running, Chris, again, I'm looking for 3 to 4 people. I'm not sure how many I'm going to take. I'm not sure exactly how many people are coming back, but it might be 3, 4. It might be 5. Email me, Joe.Blewett at jets with an S, xfactor.com. You have to have a picture of your subscriptions to the website. It's only for subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, I apologize. It is what it is, but we're doing it with the subscribers because there's enough. So keep moving on. Joe Bree brings a Depends diaper. What does that mean? What is a Depends diaper? Steven Engel, are you talking about like I hedge my bets? What are you talking about? I feel like that's a lot of shit talk. I really don't know what that means. You have to clarify. A Depends diaper. That feels like an insult, but I'm not sure. Did you do a weekly win-loss prediction? Oh, for the Jets? Yeah, a couple. When the schedule came out, Kyle and I did it really quickly. I think I finished being positive at 9-8, but then I said, okay, let's really say 8-9. So on my final prediction, if I had to bet my life on it, it's probably 7-10. No, 8-9. I'm sticking to 8-9. It's 8-9. Minnesota 50-50 team, very beatable. Yeah, it's just Dalvin Cook in the run game. They have obviously good receivers too. They have some good defensive players, but I think that's a 50-50 game too. Go get food poisoning, lose 20 pounds, go to work and shit your pants, throw up, nothing to poo-poo. So I'm not gonna. So Jin Polk, I had a stomach bug a couple of weeks ago, and obviously I'm not an NFL athlete. I lost like 12 pounds in literally a day because I probably shit 35 times. I'm fine. Like player, and they go through. Yeah, that's a lot to go through, but to say that's the excuse for the entire year, I can't buy it. I get that's an excuse for a week or 2, 3, 4, maybe a month, and that sets you behind a little bit and snowballs. Okay, but to snowball to that extent, I can't just excuse it. There's no way. This is scary taking cat to the basement now. What is going on here? Like shit through a goose. I have no idea what is going on in the chat tonight. Joe, don't worry, brother. I'm going to bring medium sauce, not too hot, just amazing flavor. I don't want to blow up my stomach either. Okay, yeah, good. Don't sneak it in there because I have like sauce. It's like at the end. It's like ghost pepper and what's the other really hot one? Ghost pepper's not the hottest anymore. It's some of the C, whatever it is. It's like that, and you have one drop in your tongue, you're fucked for like an hour, like legitimately. So I'm not trying to do that when I'm drinking beer. Murdog, Becton at right tackle really means that privately the staff has concern about Becton's durability, availability, and if need be, would rather swap people right tackle instead of left tackle. Yeah, so without necessarily completely agreeing, Murdog, and I do really, but it kind of this almost sounds harsh, but I basically said the same thing where I think they're more comfortable with Fant's floor at left tackle, and they're more comfortable with that, so they're going to put him there. Like they don't want the high potential volatility with Becton. So I think that's you're pretty on point with that. The clips I've seen so far of Garrett Wilson's speed and route running scares me. Don't really worry about his speed. His route running is it's good, but he has a lot of room to work in terms of just technical stuff. But Joe Blood, I'm concerned with it. Didn't I just? Okay, I'm minutes. I'm far behind. So I already did that, right, Chin Paul? Or not that. That was Chrono Kenny. If you didn't hear that, I can go back over it real quick. But I just mentioned it. Who and which keeper type of wide receiver? The good thing about the receiving core is it's very multi-dimensional right now. So they don't just have one type of guy. I would say they're a little bit smaller than I would always like, but they're really good route runners, which is important in the system. I think Mims developing into like an X type guy would really help out the rotation of this system. But I think for the playmaking type stuff, you're talking about bigger receivers. But at the NFL level, you want guys who are going to get to a spot quickly. So I would say I prefer the better route runners, and I think that's what Zach Wilson would want, and the Jets would want too. Where again, people extrapolate like, oh well, Zach Wilson makes a lot of plays outside the pocket. You want bigger guys for scramble drills, but that's only going to happen hopefully 4 or 5 times a game. You what about the other 35 plays he drops back and gets to hit a guy on a 3-step drop and hit a slant? I have faith in guys like whatever. So Hawk Def, yeah. I compare. I was probably the one who compared Garrett to OBJ. It's more lower half and his explosion. His movement capability is like OBJ to me. Like how almost like easy. Not like it's not a good. It's not, like fluidly explosive. Like how easily explosive he is reminds me of Garrett Wilson. Or reminds me of OBJ. Okay, let's see. Hey Jets, this may help. My Ravens week 2 versus Dolphins, week 3 versus Patriots, week 4 versus Bills. Baltimore Ravens coming through the entire NFL. Okay. 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 I'm not sure. I've seen you here before, Aaron. You've been respectful to me at least, but I don't know what you mean exactly with that. I think the Ravens might be being slept on a little bit by some fans because of what they did last year, but they're the most injured team in the NFL. So. Salmon Thomas. he's like JFM light. To me, he's a JFM replacement, a guy who could play a D end as a run stuffer, and then inside is where you want him to take advantage of his explosiveness versus guard. So he is the JFM light to me on this team. That's the replacement. Fun fact: Joe watches more film than Kyler Murray. Yes, very easily. And at least independently, because if how much do they watch it and every day at the facility? That's the time that's not necessarily in the contract. It's independent studies when he's by himself, but Independently, yeah, by a lot. Like the last weekend was probably 22 hours between my 2 days off because I had to catch up. And then I'm a type of person like if I'm like 75% done with a task, that last 25% will bother the shit out of me. So I'll just cram that last 25%. That's what I did. Okay. Let's see. Throw any last question or last second stuff in here, because I'm going to go in a second, and I am almost done with. Oh my god! I even remember nobody updated me on the Mets. God damn it! What's happening? Tell me the Mets score real quick. Completely agree, Joe. Great show as usual. As always, I'm out unfortunately, but see you soon. Yep. Horse Rich. What's going on? Mets are sorry. Okay. Can't believe like people who come in here to other streams. You know what? Good luck. I'll just say good luck. I'm not gonna talk shit to you. Just good luck. 6 hours ahead. Okay, still 7 o'clock isn't that bad. But the problem is, maybe we'll do an early dinner. But like I know dinners when I went to Germany, like in Europe, like 45 minutes before the waiter comes out, like they just make you chill. So I'm gonna be at a dinner. I'm gonna get there at 5 and then knock it out until 9 o'clock. Does this talent need elite talent at D tackle or D tackle stop the run? I always see them overrunning plays, but they are asked to rush upfield. Not sure how the system works to stop the run. It's about really quick recognition. It's just guys getting more familiar with the system and getting used to reading blocks quicker, making those splash plays. Like you're going to have some plays where you're going to flub it because there are schemes that are going to work against that quick penetration, power counter, pin and folds or draws, whatever it may be, traps, whams. So you're going to have some plays where the defensive line is not in the right spot, but then you need linebackers to really make up that ground and fill gaps. And a lot with the system is okay. They penetrate, but it's not okay. Hey, Q, just go penetrate the B gap. It's okay, Q, you have the B or the A gap, and then you have an exchange with the linebacker. So the linebacker has to read what Q is doing and then fill that opposite gap. So it's a lot on splashy tackles for loss for the defensive lineman, and then the rest of the game just hopefully the linebackers kind of making up for the defensive line when they inevitably do get beat sometimes. It's kind of a high risk, high reward type of run defensive system. But again, you have guys who are not overly talented in run stuffing, and then you're changing them into a new system. It's going to take a little bit. So. Okay. You're talking about something else. Yeah. I remember I asked you a question. I don't know. Joe, cause you never take a break. No, I'm going to have like 10 days maybe before the preseason starts. But with that being said, I'm also hoping they sign Quan Alexander and the tackle. So if they do sign other guys, I'm probably going to do like 4 game sample sizes and make them like an hour show instead of watching 16 games of them and making it 2 hours. But yeah, I'm going to take a couple days. Obviously, I'm still going to be streaming. Streaming is not working. It's 2 hours of talking to you guys. It's easy as hell. It's watching 12 hours of film on a Saturday. And my wife wanted to go out and then me convince her, I was going to do film. It's hot outside. Let's just stay inside. We just saw your family last week. But that's what it's more about. That's the grind. This isn't a grind. This is fun. Reaper. Yeah, Carolina Reaper is the worst. Not my thing. That's just the hot sauce Chanel, not for real life. Yeah, there's to a certain point, Jeremy, it's too hot where it's not enjoyable. Like I don't know if you guys have a Cluck U, but I like it's thermonuclear. So like you have like 911. I think it's thermonuclear and then traditional death. I think thermonuclear is more like barbecue-y, but I like a couple steps below the top. That's what I like. Above the medium, above middle, but yeah, I'm not doing Carolina Reapers and this and ghost pepper for a burger. I can't. I hit this again. Let's not overreact. If he can get 300-400 yards this year, I'll be happy. But yeah, if he could be what he was when he's coming out of Baylor, what we thought he could be, I'd be ecstatic. Lakinen's 30. Yeah, I said 32 before. That's my fault. 30. He could be pretty good for like 3, 4, 5 years. It looks so much like Sam Darnold. That's Sam Donald. Some people have said that. I don't know. Do I? Is that a thing? I'm rooting for Thomas Hurnham. Okay. Fant will probably get extended before the season ends. Are you saying? Did I say before the season starts? Yeah, I could see that. I would say before the season though. If I had to bet. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything else in here. Jay? Who's you a fan of? Do we know who Jay is? Can I still not chat? Oh, I can. Nope. Sorry, can't now. Study club. Okay. What time is it? 8:27. I'm 4 minutes behind. Any last second stuff? Throw it out real quick. Next week, I'm really excited for next week with Kyle. I'm obviously excited because we're talking training camp and stuff like that. We're doing stat predictions. So, okay, does Breece Hall get 1,000 yards, whatever? We're gonna put our name to our stat predictions. Do some fun superlatives type stuff. And then the next show after that's with both Sabo and Nania recapping the offseason, their thoughts. We haven't seen or heard from them in a little bit, so we're gonna do that. And then the week after that is top 25 players on the roster, which I love doing. And this year it's a lot harder because they have a lot more talent. So I always love that show. I'm not sure if it translates to you guys. Me personally, I have a lot of fun with the top 25 show that me and Kyle have been doing since 2015. Okay. Titans will win the AFC South. I bet money they don't. Losing AJ Brown is big. Tannehill's getting older. Henry's going to drop off eventually. One, the Jets beat them last year, so who cares? And two, the Colts. I think they have a better roster, and they have honestly, I would take Matt Ryan over Ryan Tannehill for a game. I think I would. I think Tannehill has been playing behind a team with a really good rush offense, and that's about it. I'm not a big Tannehill guy. Okay. No Super Bowls for the Titans. Is Wesco a fullback? It's a battle between Wesco and Bawden. I think if I had to bet right now, it's probably Wesco because he has the flexibility to play tight end, but I think they're going to cross-train Bawden to see if he can play some more like inline tight end because I think Bawden's probably the better fullback, but just the versatility of Wesco playing tight end might win him that job. Okay. Sabo, Nania plus Kyle would be great. 4 is a lot, but yeah. I don't know. Okay. I appreciate everybody being in here. The chat was lively tonight. Again, you guys make it really easy to do a 2-hour stream talking to myself and you guys, whatever. But always great. Always appreciate you guys. Training camp is here. Fall is coming. Very excited. I will see you again Thursday doing stat predictions with Kyle. Follow me on Twitter, Jorby31. And again, all these reviews of these players are coming out. 11 more are coming out. So watch them and really get to know these players because that's what you should do as diehard Jets fans and support the work as well. So thank you, and I'll see you later.